last session, there was the finishing up and cleaning up of the dragon hatchery, and essentially the questioning of the lone cultist who was passed out drunk in the treasure room, the collection of the black and blue dragon eggs, and then the travel spent between the cult encampment, Greenest, little bit of conversation with uh, Governor Tarbaugh, and Escobar the Red, and then the passage to Elturel. Upon arriving in Elturel, essentially the city of light in the middle of this, it's kind of right between one of the upper plains, almost desert like areas, but essentially still inside of the green fields and the general fields that feed all of Faerun, or at least all of the Sword Coast. But there is the brilliant white light of the God's blessing that kind of sits over El Turel, giving it perpetual daylight. And you have all arrived there, met up with your contacts, Onthar Froome, who is a past mentor of Doc, as well as Leosin, who is the past contact of the entire group, as well as Vicious. There was a good bit of sharing of information, some conversation about the danger of the dragon eggs, some conversation about the potential bonuses and benefits of the dragon eggs, and by and large, the reference that perhaps the biggest reason to do this or to do that with them would be the value that they might possess for bringing the Emerald Enclave into the fold against the dragon cultists. And after a process of deliberation, everyone ended up deciding that perhaps the best choice was to dispose of the eggs before the Emerald Enclave ever got word that you all had collected them. And with that, you went off to the Temple of Kelenvor and incinerated them inside of one of their mortuaries. Um, and from there, we had a little bit of conversation with Onthar Froome and Leosin inside of. Oh, I've got the bar's name written down somewhere, but it's not directly in front of me. It's something Antler, Order of the Gauntlet Tavern. Um, and you all had a little bit more private of a conversation with them here, and that was where I believe Doc joined the Order of the Gauntlet, and I believe Vicious and Tynus ended up enlisting in the Harpers. And with that, we will also pose the question to the other two players. Um, More or less, we are just going to hand wave the two of you joining the party in El Chirel. Um, More or less, it can be through my mysterious bartender, who is essentially the black cloak ethereal bartender who kind of opens up a door and brings you out of a loud dinned Valhalla like bar scene. And you all can rejoin the rest of the party, but eventually you will have the situation with Onthar and Leosin where they too will ask you if you intend to dedicate yourselves to the mission of the Order of the Gauntlet, which is more or less to protect those who cannot protect themselves, in the general defense of the uh, kind of path of the Triumvirate. While they are predominantly for Torm, it is very much a organization of paladins and clerics and general warriors of Helm, Torm, and Ilmater. Or the Harpers are a more traditional spy organization that, while they have a very similar plan of action in that they defend those who cannot defend themselves, they are a little bit more covert in how they do things, a little bit more understanding that sometimes people do have to die to accomplish the actual missions at hand, and it's not always best to sacrifice an agent in order to make something happen when a civilian um, might have to die to accomplish the same thing. Um, and that's probably where we'll have to jump in to see if either of you have any intention to join an order that might give you access to resources along the line.
So we are in the bar now? Uh,
Yeah, essentially we'll jump back
okay.
kind of back in to the two of you would kind of walk in on the others inside of this tavern, and they would be in a more private area towards the back, sitting down with a large man who is clad in a beautiful, shiny, heavy armor that presents a large blue right-handed gauntlet with the outside of the gauntlet out in a clenched fist, as well as the familiar Leosin who, while is still bloodied, is certainly regaining much of his health in being away from the cultists.
All right. Just a question out of character. Are the two others friendly with each other, or do they not like each other? So,
These at present are the two orders who are the first signs that you all have that there are multiple large factions of the Sword Coast starting to band together in order to combat the presence of the Cult of the Dragon. And the tavern itself is a pair of black antlers.
so you see as Heide enters the room via the portal, was it, or the door? No.
It is essentially like an ethereal door that almost like opens up, and immediately upon like kind of being present, it's the door is opening, and a light shines through, essentially from an area that was not there. Overall, I like to imagine it's a moot point whether it opens up inside of a doorway that would normally exist. But it's one of those things where I don't think anybody really has a good understanding of this creature yet, how it operates and why, but at present it is purely a narrative device.
You see as Heide tries to make a cool uh, intro into the room via the magical door or whatever it is, and just uh, stumbles on a wooden plank or something that shows a little bit out and just rolls over to you guys and be like, "Oh, hey guys."
So
Uh, sorry.
the three would currently be sitting with Onthar and Leosin inside of almost like a VIP room type of thing where it is like kind of ornate, like marble bars. Not marble, walnut wooden like bars kind of set up. It's as if it's like behind bars or behind glass, but there's no actual glass to this separation, but it basically separates them with a overlooking view over the rest of the tavern. But there's essentially like a swinging door before you that you could open up and join the party.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick the door open, the swing door. How you doing, guys? Did you miss me?
Ah, Hadar. Welcome back from your bizarre excursion.
Yeah, I needed a little special time to do some different things. I can't really remember what I did, but you know, well,
Well,
here I
for
am.
now, you can join us. I believe there is a very important decision on the table that you need to be a part of.
Yeah, but first I have a small question. Are we gonna have dragon eggs for breakfast?
Titus will kind of choke up when he says that, and he'll wave him over quickly.
Yeah, he goes over to Tinus.
We'll whisper in your ear. The dragon eggs have been disposed of, and we are never to mention it again. Ever.
So so no so
No,
no
it's
eggs.
no breakfast.
Damn. Okay. All right, man. I always miss the good food. So not the first time.
It's unfortunate, but never speak of it again.
I will keep that in mind. So yeah. So what are you guys up to? What are you guys doing here?
And he just sort of hand wave over to the two people presenting the offer.
Oh, so they want I need to choose something. Which did you take?
I joined the Harpers.
The Harpers, and so everyone Harpers now. And
Well,
as
Vicious and
Your
I are Harpers.
your
you know,
friend
as
seems
Hada
perhaps
is. Yeah, go on.
your friend seems perhaps a little bit too reckless, perhaps, to join an organization that is meant to be covert. Perhaps you might find yourself more at home in another situation that don't try to hide themselves beyond subtlety.
Are you saying that I'm too big to be unnoticed?
I'm gonna
You
elbow him and say, "Yep,
you
we."
rolled into the room.
Are you telling me that the big orc can hide better than me?
I believe the fact that your friend is an orc will almost always hide her better than you because no one would expect her to be a force for good. The problem is that once people are looking for an orc who is good, she will have little options afterwards. But yes, I do believe somebody rolling around is perhaps a little bit too out there.
Yeah, okay, I get what you're saying, but I must say I feel like that the twisty stuff and everything there, it's a little bit too complicated for me. It's just I would prefer to do something more simple and just roll around and everything, and don't, yeah, just, yeah.
Not everyone has to be a member of one of these organizations. It is more if your life and our lives fit together as one that we can perhaps benefit each other. It is an honor to know that some of your party has taken up this mantle and has accepted the charge. You will certainly have access to our agents along your path as is. But I believe you might have more to learn of subtlety before you want to take on the risks of being a spy amongst enemies all about you. Though you will find danger in no short supply as you head further into the cult.
Yeah, I have not a good feeling about me being a spy right now, so I would prefer to do something else more. So, what I forgot the name of the the other group. So the other, yeah, not the.
The Order of the Gauntlet may certainly be useful to you, and you may be useful to us, but do not forget that there are more organizations than just ourselves. And as Leosin was well to point out, you already now have a member, and he hits Doc on the back real hard with his gauntlet. You all already have a member of our order, and you too will have access to our agents along the way. You are most certainly welcome as a warrior of a due diligent faith, but what what do
So
you fight for and believe in, little monk? And this is the one person who is actively larger than you.
so everyone else is not larger than me. They would
You
be
are
stronger.
quite large.
But
Very few people that you ever meet are larger than you, and this man is definitely larger than you.
yeah. You know, what I fight for is probably a good meal and to punch the evil guys. I have some guys that I want to punch, but most importantly, I want some good food right now. But
Yeah, perhaps somebody who's out for themselves wouldn't really fit into the Order of the Gauntlet, so maybe you would do well to look for other ventures along the way. Ah, though you don't seem much for nature itself, perhaps the Emerald Enclave might find use for you one day. Ah,
He's certainly a
do you have a
force of
green
nature in his
thumb?
own right.
so what did you say at the end? I didn't understand that.
He asked you if you had a green thumb. Essentially, like, are you a gardener?
Sounds like it's a brown one.
Well, I'm more like the enemy of all good gardens because I also like tomatoes a lot.
What?
He's the rabbit in the proverbial garden.
Yeah, he eats everything. Just
I don't believe that would offend the Emerald Enclave for their own way. They're a force for the order of nature in their own right, so perhaps you would find order there. That's part of why they would be perhaps the most likely of who is already banded against this cult to be interested in keeping the alive and hatching.
alright. I think I'm gonna look around for the other artists too and just listen what they do probably. If I ever meet one of those guys you are talking about, I may speak to them more and get more information what they are doing.
It's not a decision that you have to make right now. You are certainly welcome to keep your prospects open. Uh, Perhaps you will find a reason to join your friends in the future at some point, and they will most certainly be able to let the different folk who would need to know, and you can one day join an organization. Perhaps you just have some maturing to do yourself.
Doc will twist his mustache a little bit and take a drag of his cigarette and look up at Hadar, and he'll say, "Don't worry, Hadar. I heard that they're looking for more members for the dragon cult. Maybe you'd fit in a little better there."
You know, if they give me the food, I may join them.
Let's not even suggest such a thing.
You know, well, I mean, it's not. It's and Hader's gonna turn quiet and not say anything anymore.
Oh, I'm just joshing with you, having a little fun, big man. I'm sure you'll fit in where you get in.
Is your loyalty always bought one meal to the next?
You know, I mean, I can act like I'm loyal to them and eat the food, and then I turn against them. But you know, depends on the food. I mean, you ever tried some dragon meat? Me neither. And if someone would offer me some dragon meat, I would definitely say no. Yeah, sure, I would say no.
Onthar is going to look at Laosin, and then after looking to Laosin is going to look across the rest of the party. Is this man trustworthy?
He's very trustworthy. He likes to joke. We've already seen that he is just as against the cult as we are. For whatever reason, he enjoys joking about food and his prospects towards it, though we have never had any reason to buy him with a meal.
He's very brave.
Yes, I would trust him with my life, but I'd be less likely to turn my back with any rations around.
You guys can be sure that I will never stick with the dragon cult because I want to fucking kill every one of them. And Hard is gonna just turn around and stare at the wall for a moment.
Seems like a good spirit you've got there. I believe there might be a little bit more to test in you to figure out what is really happening. There's very few things that tell more about a man than a good feat of strength. Tell me, little one, do you think you can best me in an arm wrestling competition? And he slams his arm down on the table and then uses his other arm to basically throw all of the food on the table, just swipes it right off the table and onto the ground, just in an absolute racket of destruction.
I think
Well,
we should take bets.
We should take bets.
you guys, I give you a tip, bet on him. And I'm gonna sit down next to on the other side of the table, so take his hand, even if I don't believe I can win.
So it's just a contested strength score right now.
5 silver on Hadar.
I'll throw in a gold piece.
I'll meet that.
Who's betting on the other guy?
You should bet on the other guy, probably. I'm just saying. I'm a monk. I'm not.
I
I'm
have
not a warrior.
I have faith in you, Hadar.
All right, so
No.
I'm gonna stand up and wave to everybody else in the bar. Hey, we're gonna have this contest right here. We're taking bets. We our little
Uh,
friend can win.
vicious. No, not now.
Why not?
While this is a very fun competition between allies, we are not really trying to draw much attention to our entire meetup.
Oh,
And he will call out, "Apologies for the disturbance, everyone. Continue what you were doing."
Yeah, let's keep this simple and between us. I'll take the other side of that bet to make it interesting, and I'll pull out a couple gold and throw them down on the table.
We've currently got 2 on Hadar and 2 on Thar.
Oh, you guys bet on both sides already?
No. Me and Vicious both bet 1 gold on Hadar, and you've just bet 2 on Thar.
Oh, okay, yeah, that works.
So just to clarify, this is an Order of the Gauntlet Tavern. So there's not really necessarily any big need for too much secrecy as far as things go. But it is the type of thing where there are still certain things that you may not want to openly share as well.
Well then, let's see
So-
about this bet.
So if
I'm
you
just gonna say it before. I'm gonna use just a little bit of my strength, not everything, and I'm gonna. I forgot how. If you close your eye real quick, what was the word for it? I forgot
Blink.
it. Yeah, make a quick blink.
Oh, he's gonna wink at him.
you better win. That's a whole gold piece we have.
Use all your strength, please.
Wink, wink.
So if
Oh,
you are
no.
good to go, let me get a strength check from you. So Onthar's hand kind of drops a little bit towards the table as the two of you start to push, and as he starts to reach close to the table, one more. He starts to kind of pull back towards the even mark as you two get close to back where you started, and another. You two kind of like oscillate in the same position there for a second, and one more.
Ooh.
He nearly slams your hand into the table, and one more. You kind of like
Ooh.
pull him right back towards even, and another.
Come on, Hadar, you can do it.
I'm
He
trying my
almost gets your hand back to the table, and one more. I think that'll be the one. Yep, and he slams your hand into the table.
Oh, so
Yes,
close.
my friend. Yes. Very good. And you see as he calls out a loud booming voice towards the barkeep, and he says, "A full platter for us all. Bring the food in." And shortly after, you guys will have a feast arrive from the barkeep, who basically brings like large platters of just about everything. Things like lamb chops, different like large platters of bacon and pork, all kinds of things like different deer, and then like some like vegetables, rice, different things like that. But Onthar has a different level of respect and joy for the little monk who stood his ground quite well there.
You can see at the moment Hader loses, he said like a painful face, like his hand is hurting and he shakes it. But then he hears that the food is coming and you see his face glowing with a really cheering aura.
So
Tinus slides a coin over to Doc.
Arla, I feel like you had said you were basically away when we kind of reintroduced you all from the ethereal, like bartender, like opening up the door from the ethereal tavern and stepping through. So you as well can basically step back into this situation while they are kind of arm wrestling, or just while he is reintroducing. I'm not sure what you actually picked up of the introductions of Onthar Froome and Leos and Erlander.
I got back when Leosin was asking Hadar whether he was for or against the clan, and then the arm wrestle.
All right, yeah. So if you kind of like walk out into them actually arm wrestling, they would. I feel like you met Leos in the actual cult section. Yeah, you were there for that part. So he
Yeah, and
would
he
very
also
quickly.
he was sorry. He also sort of slightly lambasted me for letting the prisoners get killed as well.
Yeah. He would invite you into the actual private area that they kind of have set up, and invite you to take a seat with the party as well. And see. It's good to see some of your familiar faces. I had started to wonder earlier if you had lost many of your folk to the cultists and their ways. I'm glad to see that not everyone has died.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. I had some affairs to attend to, and you'll notice that he's had a fresh haircut, trimmed beard. His clothes are all cleanly washed and perfect, and his boots are absolutely glowing.
You look almost as nice as I'd like to send all of you away looking. We really do need to get you all into a change of equipment so you are prepared to follow this cult without looking like the same ragtag bunch that you currently resemble. If everyone has supplies and needs that they might have to go through for during Elturel, I believe Onthar had mentioned he has a boat commissioned for you all to head down the Chionthar this next morning, and perhaps we can get you on your way, but it would be good to upgrade your clothing, your general attire, perhaps any weapon needs that you might have, as well as any general equipment. So please, if you have a list of things that you all need, we can get you all sorted there. And in the process of kind of going through a bit of the conversation here, um, the rest of the party has already agreed to this trip into Baldur's Gate, from which Onthar will pay 50 gold pieces to each of you for that trip. So both Arlyle and Hadar can take an extra 50 gold from their essentially accepting the same quest that the rest of the group is going on. I'm sorry to say at this point, the others have accepted it, so you can try to convince them if you don't want to follow through, but otherwise you can write down 50 gold if you want to accept them accepting it. And then Laosin will pay each of you 150 gold for the effort that you all put forth in going into the cultist cave and what you did in the dragon hatchery.
Nice. It's like 200
Is
gold in
this
total.
is this addition into what we had last week, or
You
should
all,
I
yeah,
consider
you
the party
guys
loot
already
list
got
updated?
paid.
All
Oh
right, so
yeah, if
that's
you
just
guys were just
another.
adding things to the party, that's purely up to you. Those payments were to each player, so if you've added them to the party list, that is perfectly fine. You guys just kind of have to figure that out on yourselves. But
Oh yeah, I
as far
separated
as
mine out onto my character sheet, though I do still have it marked as part of party loot total.
all right, that's no good. You gotta pick one or the other. It's either on your character sheet or it's in the party list.
Oh, all right.
Anything that is put onto a character sheet needs deleted from the party loot list. Um,
All right. I'm gonna take my portion out of the party loot then.
Yeah, I have my potion on myself. Ether for now.
so I believe Doc did not have a item in mind for what he wanted to search for through Elturel. And then Hadar and Arlyle, have you two decided about what magical items that you might want to send Leosin, or rather might want to spend your day searching through the town trying to find?
Yeah, I would just want a simple magical quarter staff, probably, if it would be possible.
Yeah, +1 longsword for me, please.
Oh yeah, and I picked one out. I was gonna go for a luck stone, if that's possible.
Actually, you know what? Sorry, can I change and can I instead go for a +1 shield?
So let me just have you all kind of take some time to yourselves to chit chat and whatnot while I look up these magical items.
Ah, cool. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the party feels about it, but I decided to separate my character specific gold from the party loot list. Not for anything specific that I want to do in particular, but I just felt like I wanted to keep track of my gold separately. Though, if ever we decide we want to like do a pool purchase, I'll gladly put in my fair share as with everyone else.
Hey,
Yeah, I think
real
it's good.
quick, while you're looking up those items, in the book it's called Stone of Good Luck, and then it says Luck Stone in parentheses. So if you're going alphabetical order, look under Stone of Good Luck. That is all.
So I think it's a good idea that everyone has some money on themselves, because if they want to make a purchase that not everyone of the group knows, probably, I don't know if you ever want to do that, but if you want to do it, it's probably a good idea to have some money on your own. I mean, like
Mhm.
if Hader want to buy premium food or anything, not everyone probably want to buy it.
Yeah, and I think that's what worked really well last time, is that at the lower levels, we were splitting our gold because it was important that we sort of had that initial start off for our own characters. But then as we got later on in the game, it was all just pooled, wasn't it? And we just made purchases based on which character needed something the most. And it sort of went like on a rota for, say like if somebody needed some spells or if I needed armor or whatever. So I think that probably, yeah, lower levels until we hit like level 6 or 7, maybe start to consider keeping the cash pooled then and just keeping pocket cash on you, like 50 gold each for general frivolity.
Well, he said he'd prefer we don't have like some gold in on our character and some gold in the party. So I'm trying to definitely
No.
keep a
My
main
point.
split.
My point is the same item should not be on two different things. It should
Gotcha.
either be in the party loot list or it should be on a character. If it's in the party loot list, somebody is still carrying it. But like if money's on your character, that's in your coin purse. If you get mugged in a city or get pickpocketed, I'm taking all of your coins. So that's one of the biggest reasons not to carry money on your person. But you want to have some money on your person. Just don't keep everything in two different places. It's in one or the other place.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
And that's part of why I
Well, I guess I
had
understand now.
a role for a um damn it, a bag of not devouring, because
A
Holding.
bag of holding.
yeah, bag of holding, because though I don't want to just give them away, it's the party loot list is meant to unify the party, in that one person having a bunch of money but no need for anything is money that would be better spent in getting somebody else set up so they are more effective.
Ah, okay. That makes sense. Well, then I'm going to go back to the party loot system. I just misunderstood the whole system entirely.
All right, so let me have uh Hadar roll a D100 for me.
Seven. A
You are
freaking
not able
seven.
to find a +1 quarterstaff.
Damn.
And then let me have Arlisle roll a D100.
Is that good?
You also are not able to find a +1 shield. And then let me have Doc roll a D100.
I hope at least one of us gets a good thing.
At least your roll was 7 times as good as mine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
at this point, this is 2 of, 5 people have been able to find what they searched for.
Oh, who
And
found
as
what they were
far
looking
as
for?
the gold is concerned, I'd rather just leave mine in the party loot list because while there's no doubt that I have good intentions, I don't always make the best decisions. Wasn't too long ago a lady of the night snuck off with my personal items. I got robbed by a prostitute that one time. So
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So, Doc, you are able to find a Stone of Luck for 300 gold after your day of searching.
oh hell yeah, yeah, I definitely want to buy that.
Yeah, I'm gonna add 105 gold coins to the party loot from my money, so I have 100 gold coins on me.
All right, subtracting 300 and adding 105. All right, we are at 1,164 now.
So then, as well, you all are able to upgrade any kind of normal PHB things within reason. You can get different clothing items, different weapon items, different still be a roll for any armor upgrades, but you guys have access essentially to Onthar's armory while you are here. Is there anything else, basically PHB adventuring gear wise, that you all are searching for before you leave Elturel?
Can I get a
I'd-
+1 mall?
I'd like to roll for a simple chain shirt.
You already did a search for your +1 item, Jamie. I feel like you searched for.
Dropped out.
You looked for the Ring of Protection last time.
Yeah.
So you guys can delay a day and spend another day searching if you would like. Otherwise, you guys can head on to Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, I want to get a normal chain shirt. No magic, just roll for that armor upgrade.
So give me a D100 roll.
Ooh, 7.
You are not able to find a chain shirt that fits you.
That's fair.
You can't find anything.
Before
Yeah, I'm not good with these.
before we leave this city and head to Baldur's Gate, I'm not opposed to sticking around for another day or two if you'd rather attempt to find the items you're looking for. Otherwise, we can probably try again at Baldur's Gate or perhaps both.
Well, I believe we should move out as quickly as possible. The longer we wait, the more the cult advances. So I would rather try to search again in a new location.
Probably before we leave, I would like to get a disguise kit. May come in handy at some point.
You can piece together a disguise kit for, I think, probably like 5 gold.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it.
I already handled that on the loot.
So you all are essentially being forced to at least get new clothing, because you cannot look like the people who you have currently looked like. That is his point, is that you all need to try to hide your identity.
Oh yeah, I'd like to get some new priest, not even priest robes. I'd like to get some just
Traveler's
normal
clothes.
traveler's clothes. Yeah.
Yes, that was my point though, is everybody should add a set of traveler's clothes.
Okay.
I've dropped it like 5 times and nobody said, yeah, I want to get some nice this or some nice that. You guys, I feel like, have ignored the fact that he is trying to get you to change your general appearance.
Do I need to get some as well, do I?
Hyder wants to switch from a orange suit to a yellow suit.
And that is why I believe it is an intelligence choice to keep yourself distant from the Harpers.
Probably, yeah.
And my bad, Josh, I did not hear what you said.
I was saying, do I need to get clothes as well, or am I alright?
Oh, I mean, they're just buying you clothes, and I have no impression from your character that you would not accept new clothing.
Absolutely right. As long as it's fine.
And new. Very new.
It is not fine clothing. Like, it's not like aristocratic. It is traveler's clothing, so you guys blend in.
Maybe wear like a fine curtain as a cloak.
You're going to have about 3 to 4 months travel as you start heading north. I believe it's safe to say that they will at some point be going through Waterdeep, though they may divulge before then. I think you might want to save your fine clothing for another day, and perhaps take solace in most of this traveling gear will be as ragged as the rest of these people always look.
Oh, since we have access to an armory, can I get a mace that doesn't have my deity symbol on it?
You most certainly can.
Yeah, just I don't think that needs requiring changing out, but just for the sake of a role playing not looking like I always did, none of my clothes will have my holy symbol on it, and I will keep my actual holy symbol tucked away on my person.
Among the things that Onthar suggests people do is perhaps use a weapon that is not what they have seen you already fighting with. But among those things also would certainly be hiding the actual mark of your deity on your main weapon.
Yeah, so I'll get, instead of a mace entirely, I'll just get a dagger.
Well, you can. There's
I can
many
use one of
different
those.
kinds of maces, so you can just have like a flail that is a mace, but is a different kind of weapon, so it looks a little bit different. That's my point there.
Cool, cool. Then yeah, I have a flail now.
But with that, if everybody is all set and nobody wants to heed Doc's thought of hanging out longer in Elturel, you all are welcome to basically take a long rest and sleep for this night. And that essentially gets us back to where we were last time. And the party will be prepared to leave Elturel and head down Chiontar River.
Well, I mean,
Before we
unless
depart, are you sure that we don't want to stick around for one more day? If there's anything I found in my short life on this earth, it's that death will wait for you.
well, I wouldn't be
Do-
adverse
I
to
don't
one
plan
more
to
day.
die today.
If we're
I
going
have
to be
some,
spending 3 months on the road, then what's one more day?
yeah, and I have probably thinking of, do we have some good food on the travel? Do we, what will we eat there? Yeah, I see. So we probably
Dry
need some.
rations.
Well, I'm good with that. I mean, I never say no to a meal.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with indulging on a few of life's benefits before we head off. Plenty of men have died with pockets full of gold, wishing they would have spent it before they departed this earth.
So then, was that successful? Everybody would like to hang out another day in Elturel?
I think so. I might spend that day looking for a +1 shield again, though.
Yeah, I'm
So
okay with staying another day. So
13 on my persuasion check.
And it worked on me, so I must have rolled low.
all right. So let's see. All right. Vicious is going to search for a +1 maul. Are you still searching for a +1 crossbow, Tinus?
I'd prioritize the chainmail shirt.
Like just a chainmail shirt?
Yeah, a normal one, since I have to roll for it.
Could I try to
Wait,
find
no.
like the chainmail
I
short
definitely need that
shirt for
cross.
him if he tries to find his magic item?
Definitely.
You did say
Can I look
shorts,
for
right?
both? Yeah, my chainmail shorts. Can I look for both in one day, or do I have to pick one?
The magic item will take your entire day to search for. If you would like, you
All right, fine.
wait for me to actually request the roll.
All right.
We'll work with that in a second here. But the magic item is your day being spent searching through this town, through the different random merchants, trying to find somebody who has this item. It represents you going to many different locations attempting to find these things. As far as things go, I think the difficulty in sending Doc to look for the chain shirt is that the reason I'm having you roll for it is that it's actually fitted to fit you instead of just being a weapon that anybody can pick up and use. So you can send Doc off looking for it. It is essentially just a more difficult DC, basically, to try to find. But you can definitely send something along those lines where Doc can search for the chain shirt.
Then yeah, I'll look for the +1 crossbow, and if Doc will look for the chainmail shirt for me.
All right, you can find a +1 maul for 400 gold. Before you all go ahead and buy all of these things, you are going to want to try to figure out what people find first, because I believe this will be, if you are able to find them, you will be running out of money. So let me have the quarterstaff search from Hadar.
64.
That's
You are
really weird.
able to find a quarterstaff, +1 quarterstaff for 400 gold.
Yeah.
And then
What does everyone think? Can I
just
buy
hold
it?
up.
Everyone?
Just hold up. Hold up. I want everybody to price out what they find because again, I think those two items pretty much are near tapping you all out. Arlisle, roll for your shield.
57.
You are able to find a +1 shield for 400 gold. And then Tinus, roll for the crossbow.
Finally, a good one.
You are able to find the crossbow for 200 gold.
Yeah, that is above what we have. Way
And then
above.
Doc, let me have you roll for the chain shirt.
Doc accidentally gets day drunk and smokes some hash and looks for a prostitute instead.
Good choice. You are successfully able to find the Convivial Society of Faceless Ones and find a most beautiful prostitute who fits all of your wants, desires, and is essentially your perfect mate.
Oh, perfect. Just what I was looking for. I know there was something else, but I won't worry about that for now.
So, I believe you all have 1,000 gold, and you found 1,400 gold worth of items.
I would
Well,
like
I've
to
got
spend
200.
1,000 on the prostitute.
No.
This is why you don't carry it.
I have 2
Well,
gold.
we've
Is
got
that enough
1,000
for the
gold.
lady?
She laughs in your face.
Make a persuasion check. And are you offering her 2 gold right off of the bat?
Yes, I am all in with a 19.
She is overjoyed and gives you one of the most wonderful days of your entire life.
Hopefully she doesn't rob me while I fall asleep.
You don't have anything to rub on you.
Oh, and I'm marking that 2 gold off my person.
She also
So we've
takes
got
your
a-
fine dice set.
Oh.
Damn it.
Ooh, not the dice. Not the dice.
All right, so for the rest of you, take some time to try to figure out what everybody is looking to purchase.
So,
So we have 1,159 gold. I've got 200 gold. So I'll add my 200 gold to it, which puts us up to 1,359 gold. And then I won't buy my shield and they never get what they want.
I have 100 gold on me too, so
Yes, you
I
guys can
add that
purchase everything.
too.
Yep, that would leave us with 59 gold. Total cost of everything would have been
Yeah, well.
1,400.
Okay, well, should we do that?
So add my 100 gold and Jape's 100 gold.
Oh yeah, I already
200
did this.
gold, I mean.
I already did the subtracting.
Alright, yeah,
Everybody gets what they want.
great.
Upon regrouping with the party, Doc remembers that he was supposed to look for the chainmail as soon as he sees you. Tanis, I won't lie. I may have gotten slightly distracted yesterday, but did not find the chain shirt for you. My apologies, friend.
That's entirely reasonable. I knew sending you out to get it instead of looking myself was a risk, but it was a calculated one.
Yes, let's just say that the hashish and the alcohol, as well as the ladies of this town, may have gotten the best of me.
To live such a wonderful life. And he kind of like doesn't know how to react to that. Regardless, the day wasn't lost entirely. We found quite a bit of what we were looking for, and were even able to get it.
Yes, it was definitely worth sticking around for another day. Looks like you all are well equipped, and I am well rested.
When I buy the new quarter stuff, could I sell my old quarter stuff?
So my regular mall costs 10 gold pieces. I think we can sell it for half.
You can get 3 gold for it. And you can get 7 copper for your quarterstaff.
I'm gonna take the 7 copper and add it to my personal loot.
Oh yeah, I guess I'll sell my old crossbow then.
It's a light crossbow.
It is.
You can get 8 gold for it.
All right, going to the party loot.
Anybody interested in playing a game? Maybe we could roll some dice or something like that. Where are my dice? Oh,
I would love a game of dice.
seem to have misplaced them. She told me she loved me.
Her taking your dice doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Perhaps it's collateral to make sure you return to her.
That's probably it.
Yes, I like your optimistic outlook on the situation. Perhaps she just wanted a little momentum to remember me by.
Exactly. There's always a brighter side.
She sure was a daisy. I wish you could have met her.
I do as well.
So let's see. Everybody should subtract essentially their cost of living for an extra day inside of town here. What sort of sleeping arrangements would you all like to make?
Tynus would probably try to stay at a temple if they would open their doors to him, but if not, simple, cheapest. And he's used to this travel and living roughly, so he wouldn't really have expensive taste if the temple wasn't available.
There is no shortage of fuck, I can never remember the light deity's name.
Lathander.
Lathander, yeah. There's no shortage of temples for Lathander, so you can most certainly stay for free.
Yep, that's his sleeping arrangement.
Everybody else, thoughts on where you would like to stay?
A nice inn of some form.
I will just go along with whatever everyone else chooses because I've already spent my 2 gold allowance for the day.
I don't care. I can sleep anywhere.
All right, so on some level, you all have already chosen at some point your lifestyle expenses, like what sort of lifestyle that you live. And that's, if you say, I don't care, that's what you're basically doing, is just falling back to your normal. So if Josh or Arlyle would live a wealthy lifestyle, his is 4 gold per day. If Doc is tapped out and has no money, he's living wretched, which is for free. Squalid is a silver piece a day. It's purely up to you all, and then what your actual lifestyle would be already set at.
I can pay for Doc to come and stay somewhere nice with me.
That's kind of.
I knew there was a
Separate
reason I liked you.
Yes, you can't stay in the same bed as me, though, unfortunately. You look, what's the term for it? Flea bitten.
Yes, I carry a disease or two.
Or 2.
I love that you admit to it.
Me too, brother, but mine are of the mind. So I'll take another 4 off a Doc. Now the rest of the party.
I already forgot what I choose back then. What
I
do
mean, it can just be a general
I just feel as though you
conception
could
as
do
well. Arlyle has just been the only person who is clearly like living a wealthy aristocratic lifestyle.
I mean, as Hader prefers to spend his money on food, he would take a cheap housing. I would guess because he's a monk, it probably would make sense for him.
So yeah, you would probably live a poor lifestyle but spend a gold a day because you eat 8 silver worth of food.
Yeah,
So I'd say mark off a gold there.
yeah.
So I'll pay for everyone to stay in a nice inn. So no mark anything off. I'll pay for it all. 4 gold each, covered.
Is this coming from your character sheet, or should I be updating the party loot list?
My character sheet, and then everything I've got left over, I'm going to add to the party loot list.
Okie doke.
All right, so
So I'll take off another 12.
after a night of luxurious living, on the level of how Arlyle goes about his life, you all will wake up, and what would you like to do in the town of Elturel?
Eat breakfast.
Yeah, bed and breakfast, I assume.
Yeah, you can definitely get all of the food that you would like. If you want to purchase special rations for your trip, that is fine, but you all should also have some concept of the rations that you are taking along for food in this town as well. Because you have approximately a 2 to 4 day boat travel down the Chianthar River if you hire a boat, or you have approximately a week-long travel by foot to the town of Baldur's Gate, which was my way of subtly telling you once you skipped the boat, you no longer had Onthar's Froom's boat prepared for you. So how would you all like to travel forth towards Baldur's Gate?
Just look at the map. So where are we, sorry?
We're in Elturel.
How much is it going to be to get ourselves a boat now that we've sold our horses and all that good stuff and missed our ride?
I guess there's a sort of path just to the north of it that kind of follows the river. Looks like it's a more straight line as well. Obviously, it involves more walking than floating, but that dotted line going from the north of Elturel to Baldur's Gate, maybe we should follow that.
Yes.
Just,
Just on.
it would just be a question how much the cost would be to go down there with a boat.
You are able to find a boatman who offers you all passage at 22 silver a person. So, what is that? 5 of you, it's like a gold and 10 silver.
We can
So
afford.
I don't know what you guys want to do, but I think we spend 4 gold for a night, so we can also spend 1 gold to go to save 3 days.
I'd agree with that. Less mud that way as well.
All right.
So, as you all pay off the boatman and start to kind of queue up to hop on the boat, you see a few different wagons kind of loading ahead of you. It is essentially like a flat sort of canal type barge set up where it's pretty much almost entirely like open top space and a very low boat. There's already a few wagons on the boat itself, and there's somebody who is currently preparing their way across the kind of entry like gate that almost drops down to the side of the road. And in the process of kind of loading up, this person has like broken one of their wagon wheels and it's kind of dropped off the edge a little bit and is kind of stuck on the edge of the boat.
So
We
I
should
go and
offer
help
some
that person.
assistance.
So let me have a strength check from you, Vicious. You struggle a little bit. This wagon seems to be pretty heavily loaded. It doesn't seem like it's stacked high at all, but it does seem to weigh quite a bit. Um, and as you kind of like glance around, you find yourself a little bit shocked that it's so heavy. But after a few moments, you're able to kind of get the axle over the actual surface of the boat. But it's basically stuck in place on that edge there.
That's kind of heavy.
I do appreciate you helping me there. Thank you very much. That's unforeseen. Things would go wrong, but I guess that seems to be life. There's always those problems. Thank you though. Thank you very much. Roll a perception check for me. As he's thanking you, he seems to like take a moment where he almost drops to a knee and there's like a flash across his eyes that seems to have caught his attention. And he drops very quickly to his knee as he seems to swipe up a piece of paper and quickly stuffs it into a leather pouch that he has essentially like across his belt. Yeah. Thank you again. I'll just have to fix this here. Uh, Very much appreciate. Thank you very much.
Any kind of service we can do.
Any other help that you all offer? Does anybody want to try to help him change the actual wheel itself? Otherwise, you all can get onto the boat and you are essentially good to go at that point.
Does it look dirty?
I didn't catch that. Does he look?
Does the wheel look dirty?
It's a wheel.
Yeah, I'd say it's going to be muddy at that point. You're all on like the edge of the canal. The last little bit of passage would definitely be a pretty rutted, sort of muddy area of the road.
Then me and my +3 strength modifier walk onto the boat.
Doc will take a drag of his cigarette and look down at his fine clothing that he's never had as nice before and think about the bath that he took last night in the beautiful establishment and proceed to walk to the boat as well.
Was the bath actually drawing like a bath with water, or was that a bath when you gave 2 gold and your dice set?
I'll leave that to your imagination.
Ew.
So if everybody else gathers onto the boat, you all can start to progress down the river Chiantar on your way towards Baldur's Gate.
Bum, bum,
Nice.
bum.
I love that our half orc is the only one who helps someone.
I like helping people.
I like being quick.
You all are on a barge here that seems to be transferring the 4 different carts of good. There's about 6 or 8 different groups of, or 6 or 8 different people other than yourselves and the actual like barge operator, as well as 2 horses that are basically pulling the barge down this kind of canal type river. It's a slower flowing river, but the horses helped kind of speed it up. But you all seem to be making an all right pace. I don't believe anybody is a cartographer, so you don't really have a sense of where you are at any point here. Wait a second. Vicious has navigators. And you have vehicles, water. Yeah, so Vicious, you would gain a pretty good sense that while you guys are making pretty good time, let me have a history check from you. While you all are making a pretty good time across the river, Chianthar, you have a pretty good sense that this barge operator is maybe not terribly terribly an expert operator himself. He's probably a little green behind the ears, and you could possibly make better time were you to actually help and assist. You would have to try to wiggle your way into that position, but you at very least feel like if you felt rushed, your services could help this. But otherwise, you have a pretty good sense that you guys are going to take about 3 to 4 days to make your way down the river.
Am I also, is my character free to move around the boat too?
Yeah, you all are on the boat. You're not tied down or anything. There's no torture
Cool.
devices here.
Well, you haven't asked me if I've tied him down.
How unfortunate. I'm not going to ask
It
you if you tied
seems
me down.
Arlyle has tied
Anyway.
you down and is currently making a butt check.
Ah, God damn it. Very strange paladin, and I will separate myself from him as quickly as possible. Even quicker now.
Natural 1, that means he's inside of you.
Lovely.
Yeah, no. We're going to go with a no on
He
that
went to
one.
grab your butt and one finger slid inside.
Right. Anywho, while we're on this boat, let's see. Tinus would be looking around to see if anyone on this boat looks particularly well traveled, as in they're wearing any kind of clothing that denotes they're from a faraway land or anything like that.
Make an intelligence check.
Natural 20.
While it seems predominantly these people are travelers, it's difficult to say whether people are from perhaps faraway lands so much as you are coming into contact with an area that is essentially the first stopping point of many wagon trains across the coast. You guys are heading towards Baldur's Gate, which is the first location that anybody from or I want to say the kingdom to the east is. It's a CH word. I don't have that kingdom like offhand. But most people being exotic and from other areas just kind of fits the bill. But all of these people are clearly travelers of some sort. They have, well-worn clothing. Many of them, though, do have different little things that denote different areas of Faerun that they are likely to be originating from.
Does anyone look like they're from far north, like near, what you call it?
Every single person
Neverwinter
here
and the like.
seems to be deep southern areas of Faerun.
Fair enough. Then I'd like to have Tinus go talk to the one Vicious tried to help.
And what would you like to say?
Hello, merchant. I'm assuming you're a merchant because of your wagon. What are your wares, if you don't mind me asking? Not looking to make a sale, but this is a longer voyage, and I'd like someone to chat with.
Do you not have coin?
Well, I do have coin, but to make a sale on a barge just seems out of place. You have a storefront you're heading to, yes?
No, no, I am a merchant who brings and delivers exotic goods from different areas of the world where they are more valuable. But if you are not here to purchase anything, I don't understand why I should spend my time with you.
Well, certainly pleasant company is always welcome, is it not?
Yes, have you met anybody who's pleasant? And he looks around to see if there's anybody interesting on the barge, clearly not looking at you.
I like to think of myself as pleasant, though I suppose I may not be.
Well, you've certainly hit the nail on the head on that one.
Fair enough. I'll make my way elsewhere. And having been turned away from that conversation, he'll just move on to someone else.
What is
Let's
everyone else
see.
doing at present?
Not touching anything.
You find it very difficult, like, around all of these people. It's clearly, like, I don't know if you've actually thought of your character on, like, an OCD level, but there is certainly an OCD level of these are, like, stinky beasts that draw all of these wagons. So there's 4 wagons, there's, like, 6 horses and 2 oxen on this actual boat itself, and that's their restroom as well. So that's happening here. These things are relatively secured, but very much they're still jostling. So there's constantly a level of the barge almost gets like pulled into the side of the canal, and the bargeman has to like kind of push it off with like a large stick. That's essentially like how he steers it. And again, he's pretty green, so he's not very good at it. So you're often kind of going smoothly, and all of a sudden there's just a giant as the barge like hits into the ground and kind of wrestles like that. So you're finding it very difficult to not only get space between yourself, but also enough space for the almost like every like 5 to 15 minutes where there's just a massive like wrenching as the entire boat seems to contact the ground. So I believe Arlyle would find this a very unsettling trip, as I think you've got prestidigitation, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're almost like sitting there like it's up to you whether you want to try to hide it or not, but if you are not casting prestidigitation to clean yourself constantly, you're like twitching, like your right eye is starting to twitch as you're like, oh my god, I just want to fucking clean this dirt off me. Or somebody like walks up next to you and you like smell your arm and you're like, they got their stench on me.
Turns out I don't have prestidigitation. Sorry, I have thaumaturgy instead, so I'm not casting
Okay, I
pres.
got you. Yeah, so you're definitely, as far as I imagine it, this is a relatively miserable setup here because you are definitely in essentially the steerage class of why can't these people keep the dirt to themselves?
Fantastic.
Just out of curiosity, what time of day is it currently?
I mean, we're essentially going through the entire day of this first bit of travel. So,
Trick question. I would like to get drunk.
the barge operator very quickly starts to nosy up into dock and try to appreciate the finer wares with you as well. He starts off by trying to share a little bit of his swill, but you very quickly recognize that his alcohol is much closer to a pure grain alcohol than that it is of any um, class or quality. But he is willing to share it for the occasional swig of yours, and with time kind of gets closer and closer to you, and you kind of notice his flask doesn't seem nearly as full, so perhaps he's preparing for when he runs out that he might be able to get a little bit more of a drink from you.
I'm glad to share my drinks with you, my friend. The quality is quite good, I won't lie, but I cannot promise you that you will not leave with more than you came, and I don't mean a hangover.
Um, He seems to be a little bit perplexed as to what you're getting at, and you all would notice that the apparent connections with the side of the canal seem to be getting more frequent.
Excellent. We will continue to have a good time and hopefully not crash the boat. Do you want me to take the wheel for a moment? You don't seem too occupied with keeping us on course, my friend.
Oh, it's just a boring task. Just all I ever do is push the boat off the edge here, and then it just runs into the canal again. Steer around the corner, push a tree out of the way. I guess if you'd like to, you can. I'll just take a nap. Yeah. Can you? Oh, that'd be great. I'm gonna take a nap.
Oh, I was just being polite. I didn't actually want to help you.
Oh, all right.
Vicious. I think we might need some help over here. Are you busy?
Sure, I can always steer a boat. No problem.
Yeah, I think all you need to do is just like use this stick to push us away from the edges before we crash the boat. But I mean, I'm no expert.
She's an orc. Do you think? Is that? I don't know if I can.
You're fine. She won't hurt you. It's only when you fall asleep that you have to worry about the orcs.
But I was gonna take a nap.
I'll smack him on the back and say, I'm just messing with you. I'm sure you're fine.
Do you think that you can handle the barge? Or you and you see he's glancing between Vicious and the person who's guiding the team of horses along the canal.
Of course I can handle this. This is nothing. I used to be on the high seas.
Well, that sounds great. Yeah, if you have any issues or anything happens, just I guess find me and just don't like hurt me, but just give me a little rouse, and I'll wake up and pretend that I was doing everything from the start. Okay. And he like just hands you the like large like 30-foot stick there, tree, staff, steerage, I'm not really sure what to call it, and walks away and kind of lays himself down.
All right
And
then.
Haydar, are you doing anything at this point?
Well, I believe that's the first time for Hader on a ship, so he's on the side of the boat and always drawing up
Make
into
a
the water.
constitution check with disadvantage.
1 second.
Yeah, with no time at all, you find yourself completely incapable of holding any food down. So not only do you feel absolutely wretched and terrible, but you also are absolutely starving at this point because you can't even keep food in your stomach. So you now have essentially, you feel like woozy, and the boat is hardly moving, especially after Vicious takes it over. Like there's no real jostling, but your footing is just like, yeah, the world's rocking, you're gonna die, and you just feel vicious and terrible, and it's just a miserable hunger that's like your stomach's just growling constantly, and you're like retching over the side of the boat after a while with nothing left to give.
And you see as he throws up at his side a little tear going down in his eye, and he's like, "What a waste of food." Yeah, that's probably everything he does today.
What else is Tynus looking for in people to interrogate?
His primary interest is just talking to people who seem to be travelers, because he's more or less trying to gather information about what you call it, any sort of activity that they might have heard of uh, from the cult. Though he's not being so direct about it. He's just trying to see if
Yeah, you're
anyone
gonna
had
have
it.
to roleplay that though, because that is something
Oh,
that you have to describe on how you are asking about stuff without giving up the fact that you are investigating the cult.
all right. I don't mind role playing that.
So what are you looking for? All of these people are travelers. They all seem to be from distant areas, showing different signs and emblems of having come from faraway lands.
All right.
You have questioned one of the four different apparent people who seems to own the cart, not necessarily drives or guards the cart.
All right. Well, first thing to look for, anyone openly displaying a holy symbol.
No one.
All right. With that out of the way, then he's going to be looking for someone who is dressed as similar to the owner of the cart. He's not looking for guards. He's looking for merchants or cart owners.
There's four different people who fit that thing. There's clearly on this boat right now four different people who own the carts, who seem to own the carts, and then four different people who seem to be their like teamster, their like driver who kind of like guides the cart, but is not necessarily. All of them are in traveler's clothes. Some of them belay a little bit different level of wealth in their dirty general visage.
All right, then heading for the one who has the most amount of dirt on them.
And how do you approach this person?
He's going to approach fairly openly as he walks up. His arms are going to be his general posture folded in front of him, but as he walks up, he will put them down and he will raise one hand and wave and just say, "Hello, I was wondering what kind of wares you have."
I am a glass merchant. Are you looking for any fine or cultured pieces? I have some wonderful items here if you have anything that you're looking for. And he like kind of reaches into the cart and pulls out like from underneath the tarpaulin a piece that is like two swans kind of like resting their necks across each other, essentially like with their necks almost like hugging around one another.
Oh my, that is quite beautiful. Do you have any glass sculptures of instruments, perhaps?
Oh, what sort of instrument would you be looking for?
Anything of the woodwind variety, the flutes, the pan flutes, things of that nature.
You want a wooden instrument made out of glass?
A glass depiction of a wooden instrument, certainly not playable, but something more for the artistic value of it. Or perhaps
Uh,
a bard playing such an instrument?
well, um, let me think, and, this person kind of pulls out a book and starts to look through their book.
Oh, that's quite an extensive catalog.
I think I have a bard, but I don't know if we actually have them playing any sort of piped instrument. Um, tend to, well, ah,
A bard alone is certainly enough. I'm just a very big fan of music.
yes, I have a fine piece that I'm sure I could get out for you here. It would be 3, 5. I think I can sell it for. We haven't traveled across the entire realm. I could sell it for 5 gold.
Oh, 5 gold is quite reasonable. I'd gladly purchase it for that. And if I may be so bold, uh, do you have any particular creatures that you sell? Like, I'm a scholar of certain beasties that you might find wandering the land. Uh, what would
Well,
you
I
have in terms
I
of
actually prefer to make
monsters?
creatures, so I'm actually very adept at doing such things as that. The swans, these here are actually one of my works personally. Some of the others, including the bard, are works of other merchants, or damn it, not merchants. Other artisans who have put in their own little flares. I personally am not as entertained by humanoids, you might say.
Oh, then we have a very common interest. What kind of creatures do you have aside from the swans?
Well, what might you be looking for? I'm generally here in doing wholesale work, so I don't have a store prepared to be able to display things for you.
I see. So would you be more interested in taking commissions then?
We are on a barge.
Oh no,
I
not
have to
here per
heat
se.
glass. Yes,
Not here per se, but when we arrive at our location.
do you actually have any gold on you?
I do, and he'll show him 5 gold as if if I were to be buying that Bard statue, I could certainly pay for it. But now you've gotten me interested in what kind of creatures you can create. For example, could you make and something we've encountered, a kobold?
What a hideous beastie. Of course I could make a
Yes.
kobold, but why would you want to make such a terrible thing?
I have a little game I like to play where I set up a bunch of little monster figures. It's not very popular, of course, but it's something I enjoy playing.
I try to make things that I am able to sell to people. I believe you may be interested in perhaps looking elsewhere. Perhaps if you would like to buy the bard, I can certainly find it for you, and before we arrive in Baldur's Gate, I can bring it to you. But I believe we should probably part ways here. I am not sure that, I don't understand what you are searching for, but I do beautiful things.
I see. Well, that's entirely understandable. And he will give him the 5 gold. I appreciate the bard. It'll make my game even more fun.
Ask him if he's got any glass dragons. Psst.
I kind of implied that with horrible beasties and kobolds.
And
But
yet
if
you
it's the
never
closest he
asked
won't
about
be
a
this horrible
dragon.
beast.
This is true. Then after making my purchase, I will say, and sorry to make one further bothering, do you have any
Columbus.
dragons? I haven't been able to find one yet, and I'm desperately looking for one.
Ah, a dragon. Dragons are very difficult to make and then transport around the realm. You see, many people, they have already come in contact with dragons, so it is not necessarily as profitable to try to transport when they have so many delicate parts. But I believe perhaps one of my contacts in Baldur's Gate, we would be able to create a dragon for you, but that would run you far more than a simple process like this bard. But it's something that we can perhaps make happen for you.
Well, that would definitely be appreciated. I'm searching high and low for one.
That is awfully intriguing of you.
Well, it's a fun game, but as you said, dragons are quite difficult to make, and thus they're quite difficult to find. So he will give him the 5 gold for the bard sculpture and sort of take down any information he might have to meet up with him for that particular purchase.
Like you're looking for his address, it's where his wagon is parked on the barge that you are all stuck on.
All right, making note of his wagon then. Does he have a sign or something that denotes him specifically?
These are traveling merchants. This is not a storefront.
Fair
There's nothing about this setup that is somebody who looks like he's trying to sell stuff to you on a boat. That is why walking up to these people and having a discussion with them is going to always be a odd conversation, because all of these people are trying to transfer their goods to a place where they can unload them for a profit and go somewhere else.
I got you. Well, I'm going to remove that 5 gold for the party loot list later, but for
So
now,
as you
if
step
that
away, you see
conversation is
as
done.
he continues to kind of flip through the book, and he seems to be kind of like trying to figure out where he might have this statue uh hi- um stowed in his wagon, but he seems to have pretty extensive lists of where everything is kind of put away. And after a while, you all would see as he kind of crawls into the tarpaulin and seems to be going through his bit of goods. You hear a few different sounds of crates kind of being wrenched open, as well as he clearly has like a little lamp inside of the tarpaulin as he's going through everything. But after a good bit of the evening, if there is anything else anybody would like to accomplish along the day, can I have Vicious do a let's see, what would be a boat handling check? Um, I guess just dexterity plus your proficiency. So just like a flat dexterity, and we'll give you your proficiency bonus. And does anybody else have anything that they want to accomplish for the evening?
I don't know,
I
but
just
I
want to
can do
keep an
loot.
eye out. Yeah, I just want to keep an eye out for anyone who's like paying attention to us or looking our way and things like that. Just in case there is anyone who's noting us.
I also have one more extremely important order of operation I would like to perform as well.
What is Doc trying to accomplish?
I would like to pull out my tinderbox and take some of the charcoal ash and draw a handsome mustache on the sleeping worker.
Make a sleight of hand for me.
Reminiscent of my own, if I may.
You most certainly may. Arlyle, let me have a perception from you.
Hopefully not my third one. And also, one of my ones was a 100-sided dice, so that's like 5 ones in a row. But here we go.
You do spot a smaller human of sorts who seems to be laid across one of the carts, and though he's often like kind of just like staring up towards the stars and the sun, just depending on what part of the day, he seems to almost always be just staring up to the sky. But he definitely at some point seemed to have gained a little bit of interest in Tynus, and by how I have gotten the impression from you all are relatively grouped up as a party, so I would say at some point you would notice that he seems to have taken at least a little bit of interest in you all. But he has basically been sitting on top of this cart and seems to just be lightly singing throughout the day, and has been pretty regularly something that you all would. It's not that he's singing under his breath, but he's not singing full volume as well. But he seems to have at least some interest in the party at present.
As I bump into the others on the boat, just casually as I come across them every now and again, I'm just going to quietly mutter to them to keep an eye out for suspicious-looking people. And I'm also going to make sure that I got to keep my hand on my pouch to make sure no one pickpockets me. And that ends my turn.
So Vicious, you feel like you've made really good progress with the actual boat in this day. And at one point they prepare to like bring the horses on board and basically set anchor, as you all would have. Can't remember if this is the first or the second day. Did I tell you guys that you already had a day?
I think so. He said this was effectively one day of travel that we were discussing, and then said so. The events that were occurring were just sort of relative.
Yeah, but I feel like I think I already told Vicious when she did the history check. I think that was the first day, because that's when you basically recognized that you were making headway at about like a 4-day travel down the river. So I think this would be the end of your second day. And you feel like you've made really good progress down the river itself here. Maybe that wasn't actually the end of the day. I think this is the end of your first day, and you feel like you've made much better progress since you've taken over the steering from the person who was essentially the green. So you all are essentially at the point here where they are preparing to like anchor the boat and take the night off from movement. But it is up to you all what you would like to do at this point, as they are kind of ending the first day's travel.
Did we talk about like what our sleeping arrangements are on the barge?
It is a open top barge, so it is more or less setting down your bedrolls and laying down in the open.
Well, I'll try to move as far away from wherever the animals are as possible and lay down my bedroll as night falls.
Yeah, I'll do the same, but I'm looking for somewhere that isn't muddy or wet.
So as everyone prepares to lay down, you are able to take a long rest here. And pretty early in the morning, you start to hear the jostling of movement, and the main horse teamster who's been leading the horses seems to be scolding the young man who was steering the boat the previous day for kind of giving up his job and letting somebody else do it. But they seem to be getting an early start on the day and starting to move back down the river as they weigh the anchor back up. And as you all take another day, what does everybody have in mind that they would like to do today?
Well, I mean, as the day goes on, probably a little after morning, Tinus will try the same approach and speak to someone else.
Just going to keep my eye on that guy and try and avoid getting dirty.
Let me get a perception check from you, Arla.
And another one.
Crushing it. So as you kind of look around, this person seems to be taking a lazy day, but has basically pulled their hat down across their head while they continue to lay across the bench of the cart that they have been riding on. And they just seem to be pretty inactive across the day, just continuing to still do the same and sing and vaguely keep essentially themselves entertained by whatever sort of mutterings and songs that they have on their head. But let's see. There are two more merchants that you see. One is a taller human male who's about 40, and he seems to be kind of just sitting back, occasionally opening up the tarp of his cart and seems to be looking across everything, almost as if he is worried that his goods are just being damaged by all of the jostles from the young man who is steering the boat, as well as there seems to be a female who seems to be very much green-skinned, but doesn't look quite like an orc, who seems to be taking care of her cart of goods.
All right, well, I'll head over to the tall human man first. And as I make my approach, I'm generally going to be approaching the same way I approach the glass merchant. But since he's, I guess, seated, I know that's not going to change anything. So I'll just approach with a wave and ask, what are his wares?
Are you in the search for fine porcelain? I can most certainly sell you some wonderful goods. Would you like a set of plates, or maybe a tea set? What kind of things are you looking for?
I'm a traveling man more than anything. What kind of porcelain would you recommend for someone who's always on the road?
You do realize how fragile porcelain is, right?
I do, but I also recognize the versatility of many, I guess, things in the world.
I
Perhaps
believe I
porcelain
might
has a
have to
bad
have you
reputation.
pay up front for my time. I have better things to do than I. This guy is straight up stressed as fuck, and you have been seeing him constantly checking over his goods. The very thought of somebody traveling constantly as a lifestyle with porcelain seems to have made him start to sweat.
Ah, I see. Well, I assume you're quite busy with what you're doing, but if you could spare me a moment, I will offer you this. And he will just offer him a gold to keep talking to me.
I just sort of put my hand on his shoulder as I walk past him and give him guidance, by the way, for anything he
So
might
he
need in
is
his check.
going to take a gold from you, and he is going to spend the rest of the day talking to you about porcelain, porcelain qualities, and the wonderful fine goods of porcelain. Anybody else, what are you doing this day?
I was just saying then as well. I know it doesn't matter now, but I've made my choices. I was just giving Raz guidance for the day.
Yeah, this guy will talk to him about porcelain until everybody dies. So that is what you are getting out of that interaction is
porcelain
basically
dragons?
a college education on porcelain. Nope, he is not talking to you about anything of your interest. He is talking to you about his porcelain. He is
Lovely,
talking to you
lovely.
about porcelain. Every other word out of his mouth is porcelain. This guy is very interested in talking about porcelain. And he
Awesome.
took your gold
Right,
as a
Tinus.
invitation to educate you on the fine wares of porcelain. Nope, Tinus, you are done for a while. What is everybody else
Tinus not-
doing across this day?
Let's say, does Tinus now get advantage in porcelain checks?
There's white porcelain, there's yellow porcelain, we got green porcelain, there's shiny porcelain, rough porcelain, there's porcelain figurines, porcelain dishes, porcelain pots, porcelain figurines.
That
Said
is exactly
figurines
what this guy
twice.
is doing.
I just picture Bubba Gump like the porcelain guy.
I'm glad I got that same image of just every other word. He's just listing porcelain items at me.
You can make porcelain with hand. You can make porcelain with both hands. Your friend could help you make porcelain. You could use 3 or even 4 hands for the porcelain. Doc will continue his drinking spree. Just a little hair of the dog. And I'm going to try to talk to that half orc or orc-like or gray skinned figure.
How would you like to approach her?
Hello there, friend. And I'll take a little swig and offer it up.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, I can't
I
complain.
don't really drink, but thank you.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Care for a smoke? And hold out my cigarette.
What is that, a magical potion? Or what are those? I don't think I don't think I should have one of those. What are those though? What do they do?
Oh, they just make you relax a little bit, get your head a little bit floaty, so to speak.
She like twitches a little bit. They help you relax. And you see she kind of like looks around a little bit. D- um, like how they yeah, I think I'll try one of those. Like how long do you relax for? Because yeah, I'll try one.
Lasts for a few minutes, but if I may recommend, don't inhale. Just sort of puff it into your mouth and blow the smoke out, or
Oh,
you
just a
will.
few minutes. I have a feeling maybe I shouldn't. Uh, can I? Maybe there's a time where I'll need it more. So can I perhaps keep this? Do you mind if I just take it and not have you just? Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, just save it for later. I'm sure it'll come in handy. So, what brings you on this boat and on your way to Boulder's Gate, if I may ask?
I'm actually going beyond Boulder's Gate. I've got to go to Water's Deep. I'm really hoping to find like a really powerful mage up there. Apparently I got cursed and now I'm green. And I just have a bunch of different things from my hometown, and everybody was kind of trying to help me make my way up there. So with any luck, I have enough money to make it to Water's Deep, and then once I'm up at Water's Deep, I'm going to be able to sell everything and hopefully be able to find my way back home and be able to hire somebody to help me get uncursed.
So looking at this girl, can I tell like what's going on with her curse or whatever?
She looks 100% like a human, but has green skin.
A little bit of makeup will take care of that.
That is quite strange. Just out of curiosity, what exactly brought upon this curse, if I may ask?
Oh, it's kind of funny that you should come up to me and like offer me a little bit of a swig, because I might have taken something from a stranger and didn't really notice, but it turned me green and I've been green ever since. So that's part of why I really don't think it's a good idea to drink anything from a stranger, but I'm kind of, it's one of those things where I made stupid decisions, and I just heard that there's really powerful people in Water's Deep, and I might be able to find somebody who's going to be able to help me get uncursed.
That is a rather strange predicament. I'm not sure of any potions or curses that would turn someone green. Let me give something a shot real quick. And I'll like usher over Arlisle if I can.
She like steps back a little bit, but yeah, she's kind of like still there by the cart.
I just
Uh,
smile.
Arlisle, this young lady was apparently cursed through some magic or sorcery or something. Not sure if this is within your capabilities, but can you use your paladin skills to attempt to heal her or cure this disease or curse or whatever it is?
Arlisle, let me have you roll a perception check.
This will be
As you kind of pass up the barge and move towards this green female who is currently talking with Doc, you notice that the person sitting atop one of these carts seems to have kind of raised the tip of his hat. And it's enough that you kind of gather he seems to be kind of looking out from underneath his hat to watch this happening.
It doesn't appear to be paint, so I'm sure that simple travellers like us wouldn't actually be able to do anything about this, my friend. And I'm going to give him a little dig in the arm. I'm going to say, no, unless you wash yourself in the river and clean that disgusting paint off, I don't think there's anything I can do for you, my friend.
It's not paint! If it was paint, I would be clean already.
Well, it's only paint that people like us can sort for you, unfortunately. Maybe you should find yourself one of those magic people that I've heard about. Maybe you'll find one in the city somewhere.
That must be why I'm going to Waterdeep. It's funny that you should say that.
I'm going there for reasons of, and I'm going to look around the boat and I'm going to look at different things. I'm going to see an animal and I'm going to go, animal! And then I'm going to keep looking around at random different things, trying desperately to think of something else to complete my lie with. And I'm going to look at Doc and I'm
Person,
going to go,
man, woman, camera, TV.
I'm going to Baldur's Gate for Animal Man. And I'm just going to walk away.
He didn't really seem too friendly. Have you seen that green skin one over there? I think she's actually an orc, and it kind of makes me very uncomfortable that we would talk about my curse, because I have a feeling she doesn't think of it as a curse.
Oh, that's vicious. She's with us. Nothing to be worried about. She doesn't look at it as a curse at all. Matter of fact, she's pretty attractive, for an orc.
You do know that orcs kill people, right?
I've heard the rumors, but she's a friendly orc. I wouldn't worry about it. Her name's more aggressive than she is in general.
She kind of like shivers a little bit, like shaking her whole body as she's like, "Oh, could you just imagine killing somebody? So weird."
Yes, I can only imagine what that would be like. Just out of curiosity, do you not have parents or something that should be like looking out for you? It seems like you're sort of out of place amongst this group and maybe not quite attuned for the big city life.
Well, I mean, everybody's got parents, but just because they're not looking out for them right now doesn't mean that they're not looking out for them somewhere.
Well, you just be careful on your little journey here, darling. There's quite a bit that you should be worried about in this world.
Like being turned green, because it seems like a good reason to travel pretty far to try not to be green.
You've got a good point, but I'd rather be green and alive than dead. And there's quite a bit of danger in these big cities. Just make sure you're careful and you watch your back.
Well, they would hurt? No, people are nice. People aren't gonna hurt me.
Just be careful, darling.
Now you see she's like looking over her shoulder, like every like 30 seconds to like 2 minutes. You see her like kind of twist real quick, looking over her right shoulder, looking over her left shoulder, and just like she hasn't stopped twitching since you basically told her to watch out that somebody's gonna try to kill her.
So while this conversation is going on, do I notice anything from the guy that Arlisle like tipped me off about earlier?
You would have been pretty, like, into the actual conversation. I just kind of assumed that essentially the carts are towards the front of the barge. So there's, like, the 4 wagons with their sets of horses. And most of the people are kind of congregating towards the back of the barge, like, during different times. So I would say more or less you would kind of miss anything that was sort of happening with like other people as you're kind of giving your attention to this person you're talking with.
Okay, no worries.
But hopefully you picked up on my hint to lay low.
Yeah, for sure.
Wink. I'm just worried about what connotations it could have for telling people that I'm going to the city for Animal Man.
Tynus, are you still patiently listening about the wonders of the porcelain industry in Faerun?
No, I came up with an excuse to skip the lecture.
He starts to follow you around the boat and continues to talk to you about porcelain.
No.
That's great.
I use thaumaturgy to make the sound of porcelain smashing appear near his cart. So
I'm looking slightly panicked as I walk towards Vicious.
After a moment of the crash of the porcelain, he heads back to his cart and you see him throw the tarpaulin up and start to like go through all of his cases, and you hear like little rattles of like the porcelain moving, but in general after a few moments you see as he kind of wipes off his brow and he heads back to look for Tynus to take a few moments to continue on with the lecture.
I am hiding behind Vicious and just like trying not to be seen now.
Doesn't take him long to be able to find you. Even on a barge, you are still locked in some sort of view. And this guy is quite prepared to give you an entire travel's worth of discussion on porcelain. And you actually start to gather after a little bit, he probably has about 30 to 45 minutes of fresh material on porcelain before it's almost like the tape just flips over and starts from the beginning again.
Vicious, you were telling me about your life at sea. How was it? Boat travel, yes?
Yes.
You know,
and
porcelain's actually
we have
really
a lot
good
of
on a nice
porcelain.
traveling vessel. You can have a lot of different porcelain there, like a porcelain tea set's really good, and you can pour some quite delicious teas on your porcelain while you're on a vessel. And you
But
can
at sea, but storms. Storms.
porcelain doesn't
storms.
fare well in storms in the least bit. It's actually really dangerous to have those different things. So that's where you're going to want to stow your porcelain. And you have to do a really good job to actually put it in some hay to get it really like actually separated away from anything else. Because like a porcelain versus porcelain contact is where you're going to have a real big problem with your porcelain.
Of course.
And you can get a lot of scratches, which aren't really a big deal when the porcelain gets scratched. But porcelain is most dangerous when it breaks, because you can glue broken porcelain, but you can only get it so sealed back up before the porcelain is actually like, it's likely to like leak or whatnot. So there's only so much that you can do with porcelain once it's already broken, but it can be repaired still.
I think you need a friend.
Can I have a constitution check from you, Hadar?
You might not have constitution enough to listen to this.
Oh, I'm already thinking about having Tynus make a wisdom check versus a migraine. Hadar, while you don't feel as ill, you are definitely still struggling just to be present on the boat, but you are able at this point to actually consume some of the different, essentially like you're on like a tack bread that's like a near rock hard bread that you're almost like just pouring some water on to make it palatable. And you are still retching here and there, but you're somewhat gathering your, as you might be able to squeeze out and say people every once in a while, I'm starting to get my sea legs.
Yeah, and you see as he gets this bread, this old bread, and even if he bites into it, and his face is like a young kid who, I don't know, who sees, who's really happy, and he's like, man, this is the best food I've ever had, and like, yeah, I think that's all he's gonna do for today. Still trying to get back in shape.
Get back in shape.
So that day is going to come to the end, and we will move on to the next day where you all wake up. You have a pretty good confidence that you will hopefully be able to make it to Baldur's Gate late in the third evening here. In the process of this night's sleep, everybody feels pretty good across the night, though it does start to rain kind of like midway through the moon's path through the sky. and it is very disappointing for Arlyle as most of the barge becomes a bit of a soupy slog as everything kind of washes and almost like levels across the entire barge. All of the wonders of travelers are washed off of their carts, as well as the things that their animals deposit on the barge itself, and it kind of makes a soup for the entire barge, which you all cannot really get away from with your bedrolls on the ground. But we will go to the next morning as you all start back down the river Chianthar. Everybody has a pretty simple start. Again, the barge master and the steering guy have a early start, basically getting up at the rise of the sun. And about midway through the day, there seems to be a blockage across the river as there is a large tree that seems to have fallen across the river ahead of you all. What would you all like to do?
Tynus is going to spend most of this day just in silence. He doesn't want to hear words today.
I'm still keeping my eye on that guy.
So, as the barge master, the gentleman who is running the team of horses on the side of the canal, as he starts to head up towards the tree to see what has happened to cause this blockage, you all hear a loud roar from the east side, the north side of the river, and in the process, the screams and silence.
Damn it! I was about to say something too. I would like to go investigate.
I'll join Doc in his investigation.
I'll go with.
So, assuming Doc headed off earlier, basically coming up like roughly around when it happens, Doc, it sounds like an extremely large creature, not specifically like an animal or a beast. As a soldier, let me have intelligence with advantage, or a history check. My bad. Oh, that doesn't actually vary. You've got no proficiency, so. Yeah, I think that's good enough that you're kind of I recognize that sound. I feel like in the siege of this battle where they were trying to batter down the main gate with a ogre on the battering ram, that sounds very similar to an ogre's scream. And you see as Tynus and Arlyle start to come up behind to the actual sound of this. But Doc, you will be the first into combat here as a ogre throws the head of the teamster at you as if it were a large rock, and I'm gonna have you roll initiative. Or rather, everybody roll initiative.
Screwed up
Just in
again.
chat, there's no tokens.
Yeah, I was gonna ask the same thing. Do we just straight up roll? Like we don't have to worry about a token?
Yeah, this is just going to be theater of the mind.
I have a strong.
Right now, Doc has gone up to investigate with the, like a little bit behind the teamster of the horses who was guiding the barge down the river, and has roughly identified the yell as being the ogre, roughly around as a head flies out towards him. And see, a 17 to hit Doc.
Oh yeah, 17 hits.
I should have looked up the damage that it would do before rolling that, but let's see, 3 plus 6, 9 damage.
I'm gonna use a parry and try to parry the head.
I believe you should be very successful in parrying the head away from you. So what is that, like 1 damage that you would take? Oh wait, no, you probably have the pluses higher than that now, right? What's the plus
no,
for
it's
parry?
5 plus 3.
Alright, word. Yeah, so you take 1 damage from the head as you almost successfully parry it away from your body, as you quickly realize shit has probably hit the fan here. And let's see, we are going to then go for Hadar will be surprised, and then it will go to Doc as you react right now. You are not surprised. What would you like to do? You have a vague understanding of where the ogre is, but it is basically to the point where you've identified where the head came from is essentially roughly around where this tree seems to fall, and let me have you do a perception with advantage. You'd have disadvantage to try to attack this creature, but you have like a rough understanding of where it is.
Okay. Doc will yell out to the party, ogre, at least one. And with that, he'll throw his shield to his back and then pull out his bow and take a couple shots at it.
Alrighty, I believe you've got 2 attacks with your longbow now, so you can take those 2 at disadvantage.
Okay, I'm just going to use regular, not sharpshooter. 16 for the first one.
16 does hit.
Okay, and then I'm going to use sharpshooter on the second one. 15.
15 hits.
Oh, when I see the ogre, does he appear to have a weapon like on him or anything?
Well, that's essentially you like blind firing into like the trajectory of the head. And again, like the head basically came from where this tree seems to have fallen from. That perception check was to see if you were able to spot it. So you are pretty well blindly firing at this thing, but you basically, for what it's worth, like you hear the connections of your arrows into flesh more than that you see this creature.
All right, well, I'm going to do a disarming attack regardless. Just attempt to make him drop any weapons that he has. More so to add the damage die, if that's okay.
Oh, most certainly. What is it?
Nice.
What's your DC?
It's 14.
You don't really hear anything else that would belie something falling from its hands. So a total of
Sounds good.
25.
Yeah, 25. And then I'll try to get, like, how far away would you say I am roughly right now?
You're probably like 15 or 20 feet away.
Okay, I'll just kind of hold this position for now and like wait for the party's approach.
Yeah, so everybody else would be roughly like 50 or 60 feet behind you kind of thing. So Tynus would be next. He as well is going to be surprised. And then it is going to go to a arrow is going to shoot out Doc. Or not Doc, Arlisle, my bad. And a 7's going to miss. And then it is going to go to Vicious, who is on the barge. Let's see. I should have said this differently. So Doc is about like 20 or so feet away from where the tree fell. Tynus and Arlisle are probably about 50 or 60 feet away. And then Vicious and Hadar are still on the barge at about like 70 or 80 feet.
Just a retcon. I reread parry and it's only melee attack, so I took the full damage and took my die back.
Gotcha. Yeah, so then Vicious is surprised, Arlisle is surprised, and it is going to go to... Alright, before Arlisle actually is the ogre. So you guys are going to see as this massive creature kind of pops out of the tree line and stands about like 17 feet tall. As it like mashes its giant club into the ground, it is going to close the ground on Doc and make a swing at him with its maul. 21 to hit.
Oh yeah, definitely hits.
And it is going to do 15, 20, 26 damage to you.
Okay, so do you just want me to re-roll that parry attack against that damage, or just
You
take
can most
8?
certainly, yeah.
Okay, so take away 6.
So parry 6.
So
I think I said 20. Damn, I forgot what I told you.
It's 21 to hit, wasn't it? But I didn't hear the.
Yeah, but the damage...
take 17, is that what you said?
No, it was... Oh, my dice are still at the right numbers. Those 26 damage, so you would take 20.
20.
And then you are going to hear the ogre, "Get in here!" And a little goblin is going to pop out of the tree line. And it is going to take a shot at one of the people on the barge. And it is going to miss as it flies wide. And then Arlau's surprise, it's going to go to Hadar.
Can I reach the ogre?
It is about 50 or 60 feet away from you, so you should be able to use all of your movement to close that distance if you would so choose.
Well, then I'm gonna use my 40 feet movement, and for now I'm gonna throw 2 daggers at it.
I don't know if you read what I had looked into with monks, but the Shalukin is in fact an attack action for a monk. So I believe that you can fire 2 of your glowing spheres as well.
Well, if that's the case, then I'm gonna do 2 of my radiant sunbolts.
Yep, that's the one. A 23 hits.
I thought you said radiant sandals then.
Yeah, it's you can imagine it's like I'm posing like a Hadoken.
For 8 damage, and the second one, a 14 hits.
4 damage.
And with that, it should go to Doc.
Okay, so I'm in melee range now with the ogre.
Yeah, it's standing high above you right now.
All right, I'm gonna step back like 5 feet from it.
It's going to swing at you for a 23 to hit.
I'm gonna use a luck point to try to make him miss.
It's much higher. It was a natural 19 from a 14.
Okay, definitely hits.
Not a 7 and an 8, which were 2 of the big problems last time. But let's see. 10, 13, 19 damage.
Okay, I'm gonna use parry again.
So was
I'll
that
take
13?
11. Oh, well, it adds 3.
Oh, yeah, okay, my bad. I don't know why I added 1.
So Doc is extremely bloody now. And then I will take 2 shots with my bow at him again. The first one
14
is a
hits.
14. And I'm going to. Did he have a weapon in his hands? Actually,
He
you know what?
currently
I'm
has
going
the
to leave
club.
it at the 20. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at the 20. And then one more shot. Hey-o! Oh, and I'm going to do a D8 on this one for the drop attack. So it adds another
40 damage.
14. Oh, shit,
40
son.
damage. Oh my god.
And it's a 14 DC.
I do believe that's actually going to be a kill shot.
Wow.
I never got to do anything.
I know you're scared like
There's
me.
still some goblins firing arrows.
There's like my plans out the drain as well to compel Jewel and to keep him away from everyone. I'm frightened, couldn't do.
Well,
Sorry,
no
that was
blood.
pretty epic. So I guess Doc will,
It was
when he pulls out his longbow for the second one, I'm going to aim it straight at his eye when I go to do it and take the shot.
Can I preemptively use my turn to applaud?
Thoroughly unfortunate that I used 1 of its villain actions and it still got killed in essentially not even like a round of combat because everybody was surprised.
Yeah, that.
Well, I've got
That
to
was
work
an
on my
epic
reaction
shot.
speed.
It
Well,
did.
the 3 little goblins that it had called in to fight you all are successfully dispatched with no fanfare. And that will be the end of that encounter.
Oh boy, we are powerful.
Sorry, that was pretty epic. Just so you know, though, if I didn't use parry on that last attack, I was dead.
Yeah, I mean, don't apologize. It was cool. I'm very impressed.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
like,
no,
that
I
was
mean, that's the
basically a
problem, though.
crit hit.
That thing was a CR5, as far as its stats go. So the villain actions probably add like a little bit of CR to it, but essentially it's calling in minions. So the fact of the matter is that thing was a really high CR as far as its damage output, but had a pretty low CR as far as its actually defensiveness, and that's part of the problem with throwing anything at you, is that it has to either just be a pool of hit points and have low damage output, or there's next to no ability to like find a middle ground, because something that can be a challenge is going to kill you way too easily, or it's just going to die too easy. And that's always going to be one of the problems with, like, essentially that thing had, it's like created to bring in minions that soak up some fire, but say Lovey?
Well, that was crazy. 2 bow shots was 60 damage with that crit. That's fucking insane.
That's so cool.
But again, like, had you not actually basically tried to say that you were following forward with the actual like leader of the horses, you would have been surprised just with everyone else as well. So the way it kind of worked out, I think the way you kind of said things, it made more sense for your character not to be surprised where everybody else was kind of vaguely following forward, as the surprise would have kind of hit. So it was definitely the learning experience.
Can't believe one of us can one shot an ogre.
It was not a one shot.
Oh, good.
I
Thank
hit it
goodness.
before.
Almost a one
That's
shot.
terrifying. It'd have been more terrifying if it was.
No, it definitely took 2 solid hits to be most of that thing's damage. The other 2 hits, I mean, they were definitely good, but the actual, I mean, basically, what the crit. Shit, I think that was actually more than just 40 damage, though. No, okay, the D8 was the extra D8 was that 7. Yeah.
I see.
But
Yeah,
that's
that's
one of the
pretty
problems with Battle Masters, is the fact that, just like with a Paladin, he essentially has many crit abilities where he can sink in that that attack to double the extra die, knowing that he's already crit.
This also brings up what you were talking about the other time about how if we only have one battle like per session, we can like just pour everything in. Whereas if we know we're going through a series of battles like in a dungeon, we can't just like drop everything for a massive nova.
Well, it's absurdly hard to create a full adventuring day, let alone to do it when you're doing like massive amounts of travel like this. And that's one of the problems with everything that you are going to encounter while you all are traveling. And part of why I said to Josh, like, you won't get a good feeling for your character along this trip, because the trip that you guys have ahead of you, even if I throw 2 encounters at you, you need 6 to 8 encounters to start to soak up a person's like resources for a day. And it's just not even possible. It would take, it would be like an entire campaign to do travel if you were able to actually get full adventuring days into the travel time rather than just like hand waving time pass.
That makes sense.
But you all now have a tree blocking your way. You freshly dispatched a troll, as well as, I believe it called for 3 goblins. And what would you like to do?
Vicious, if you would move that tree, I will assist you as best I can.
You are not going to be able to just move the tree.
Good to know.
I'm going to pull out my flask and take a drink and use my second wind.
Okay, so when you say we can't just move the tree, do you mean that?
We may have to
Axes.
chop it into pieces with. Yeah, I was gonna say that.
All right, well, I have an axe. I could do that. I could start chopping it into pieces. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Do you
my
have an
point is
extra
a
axe?
tree that can block a barge from passing by is not something that a humanoid is going to walk up to, pick up, and move out of the way. You guys will actually have to work for this.
If you have
It
a
doesn't-
second axe, I would like to help.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a thing, but my point is that you guys actually have to do stuff to get rid of the tree.
All right. We will work on the doing stuff then.
If you have a second axe, Vicious, I will help you.
Yes, I do. And I hand it over.
All right, he will take up the second axe and work with Vicious in trying to chop this tree at least to make it passable.
So it's a
Yeah,
pretty large tree. It's probably about like a 2.5, 3 foot diameter. And it is currently across about a 30-foot canal. What are your thoughts?
It's across a 30-foot canal. Could we chop one of the parts of it that it's still on land and just sort of get that part off so it falls into the river from one side and like maybe drifts down ahead of us?
You can certainly try.
Well, then that will be what Tinus is working towards, just sort of destabilizing its position so that it'll fall into the river and float itself away. So I'll say, whatever bank we had to get on to fight the ogre, staying on that bank and just chopping the part of it that's on land, trying to separate that from the part that's over the water.
What's everyone else doing while Vicious and Tinus are chopping away with their hatchets?
yeah. I've given 20 points of healing to Doc with lay on hands. As I put my hands on his shoulders to give him the healing, I say, "Very impressive, but maybe we shouldn't draw too much attention to ourselves with our ability, eh?"
Yeah, I won't lie. I felt in danger there, and maybe got a little ahead of myself. And then Doc will like pull out his handkerchief and like coughs up like an abnormally large amount of blood.
No, don't worry about it. You did good. You did the right thing. You were in danger and you fought valiantly, and that was incredibly, incredibly impressive. I'm going to be thinking about that later. But yeah, just I'm a bit concerned about some of the people in that boat. I don't think we're quite clear of the who's.
Yes, I definitely got a little ahead of myself. I do remember your little warning, but I won't lie. As soon as that head came flying at me, I saw red.
Did you say you saw him?
When I got hit by the head, I saw red.
That makes more sense.
While you all are kind of sitting back, the two of them chopping away at the tree, you hear the person kind of is now standing across one of the carts, and he is singing a little bit of a ballad about Doc fighting the ogre, and he's basically like singing it to the like beat of their axe swings as they chop away, but is essentially giving you a little bit of a ballad to your heroics as they kind of sit back across the barge and wait for you all to handle the issues at hand. So, if that is generally what everybody is doing, the other three of you are kind of waiting while Tinus and Vicious clean everything up. Most of this day ends up getting wasted as you are cleaning up the current mess at hand. And with a little bit of progress forward, you all are probably about a half days out from Baldur's Gate when you take the time to anchor the boat back to the ground. The young man who was currently steering the ship goes and starts to operate the horses and moves with the actual horse team and asks Vicious to keep the boat off of the canal as you all make the rest of that day's progress. And then he calls things a little bit early to start setting camp and prepare for the night. But we will continue on into the next day. He kind of walks up to Vicious early in the morning and kind of like hesitantly shakes her, like, Miss, did you sleep well? And are you ready to start? We can start on the way.
Yes. Thanks for the wake-up call.
Excellent. Well, I'm gonna go unload the horses, and We'll be ready. If you'd like to take a little bit of breakfast, I made some porridge. You can have a little bit of. But I'll get the horses all set up, and we can go whenever you're ready.
Some people.
This guy's talking to a T-Rex.
All right, I'll make sure everybody else is awake.
So after it's probably about an hour or two into the morning that you all start to get the first signs of like Baldur's Gate on the horizon. You're probably traveling at like, a couple of miles an hour down this river. But you start to see the first signs of some of the taller peaks as this area gets like into a little bit deeper like crevices that the river goes through, and then you start to see after like 3 or 4 hours into the day this tall monstrous city that almost climbs up the side of a mountain, and you see that it has almost two distinct layers to it. One area that is both sides of the actual river in front of you, and then to the north side of the river on the other side, it almost goes immediately from this flat little harbor section up into a nearly like 70-degree incline up this mountain, and you just see that the lower city of Baldur's Gate, it's built onto a mountain face basically, and you see the reason why I believe it was Laosin who basically warned you that even if you took the horses here, you'd have to pay/sell them, because you're not allowed to take things through the city, as it is extremely dangerous for anything but basically humanoids to walk through the streets, as they are so vertically inclined. And about midday, you guys will arrive into the harbor of Baldur's Gate, a loud din of all of the things going on about you. And as everybody starts to unload, you see different levels of waving and goodbyes. Shortly before you all would come to dock, you would have the merchant come up to Tynus and hand you a small glass figure about like 6 inches tall, basically. And it looks vaguely like a humanoid of sorts. Um, Probably not as nice as you were perhaps hoping. It surely is not nearly as nice as the actual swans that the merchant himself had said that he was the maker of. And with that, he will head on his way as he unloads his cart and starts to head up towards some of the furriers. But he seems to basically go off towards a section where there seem to be different porters. There we go, porters. And hires a group of people to start to carry his things across Baldur's Gate and into the town itself. What would you all like to do as you enter Baldur's Gate?
Kindness definitely make note of where that guy went, just because he tends to keep notes of where people are and aren't in it within his own mind, but not specifically that he's keeping an eye on that one particular merchant. But as we enter Baldur's Gate, being aware that they said Leosin and Ontar said that it's very likely we'll have to sell all of our items when we enter. Were they specifically referring to the cart and wagon? No, they're specifically referring to the items that we have. He's going to be looking around for whoever is taking stock of
Wait, what are
items
you
people are
talking
bringing into
about
the
the
city.
items that we have?
I remember during the meeting, it was brought up that when you enter Baldur's Gate, you have to sell everything you have and repurchase them.
What I was describing was that you cannot take your horse and cart through the city, that most people will either sell all of their goods when they get to Baldur's Gate, or they hire porters to carry it through Baldur's Gate. So part of why Leosin told you that was that he bought the horses back from you all, because he was basically saying, you guys could take these down the river, but you would have to basically sell them as soon as you got to Baldur's Gate.
Ah, all right. Oh, cool.
I don't
Then
want to
it's not
interject.
like a weird tax thing. Well, then, as we
No, it's definitely a weird tax thing. It's part of Baldur's Gate's economy is to not let people walk through the city with their goods. It's literally why this city is as rich as it is because they have a monopoly on the fact that there is no road that goes around the city. You have to hire their people. It's their economy is forcing people to hire their people. And it forces them to become basically a merchant city because anybody coming from the north sells things at the north gate. Anybody coming from the east sells things at the south gate. Anybody coming from the south sells things at the south gate.
wow, they've got a
It's
tight.
a monopoly. What were you saying, Arla?
I want to throw out there. How do we feel about following the guy in the hat stealthily? The shifty guy who seemed to may or may not have been watching.
Tinus never paid that guy any particular mind beyond noticing his presence. So, if you were going to suggest that in character, he would ask why.
Oh, it's just like I told you on the boat. He seemed shifty and he seemed to be watching.
I believe he was a bard based on his behavior. He was probably watching because we look interesting.
Okay.
I don't think we should just go following around a bard, though. If you have any other suspicions about him, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
I saw him make a lewd gesture at you and you look.
I would much prefer not to follow someone who makes lewd gestures at me.
He did it with a lot of grace and decorum there. Excellent technique.
Even worse.
I don't even know why we've come to Baldur's Gate. Sorry, why were you in?
We should find a place to rest our heads and have a private room before we discuss specifically while we're here.
Very good. Fair enough then. I'm okay with that. Maybe we should look for somewhere, an inn or a tavern or somewhere to.
That would be my suggestion.
Oh shit.
We need to plan our next
I don't know
course
if
of
I
action,
actually
so we should
dropped
find
your
a
next
place.
contact this session, or if it was somebody who was mentioned basically only in passing last session.
One sec, going back through notes.
Adar, as you would step off the barge, after, for the first time, kind of feeling like you've got your sea legs, everything is swaying left and right. You feel so inclined to just lay down and let the earth roll you around.
Well, the first thing Hader would want to do is get inside the city and get some food, but anything else is not so important right now. Hey guys, are you hungry?
Sure, let's go find a meal. And I'll pat him on the back in a kind of humoring, I'll be nice to you gesture. And I do feel somewhat bad for somebody who looks that sick.
Yeah, there's some really interesting smells in the harbor area of Baldur's Gate's lower city. It is definitely a different region than most all of the world, and it's got some beautiful spices and flavors that kind of just sit on the air as you just get different aromas from all different cultures of the world, where this is one of the richest spice areas of the entire world, the different things that you would have access to. So it smells like you could get just about anything that you might desire for food. And perhaps some of the best ethnic foods would be available in this area of Baldur's Gate.
We're talking spices in like paprika, or is it like Star Wars spice?
Like actual spices, like raiding India for flavor.
Got it. That's something I can relate to. Cheers for putting it in terms I understand.
Well, it's crazy to imagine how bland food would be in the times before essentially having access to all of the spices of the world. And it makes a lot more sense, like, why a country would seem so, like, intent on taking over the world for spices when you're like, oh, wait, everything that you eat tastes better with some sort of spice to it.
Yeah.
Right, so you've never enjoyed a nice boiled cabbage broth before? The English staple pre-Indian time.
I always wondered what they ate.
Nothing good. Just
Nothing worth
roasted
eating.
suckling pig and cabbage. Not that I was there.
And unfortunately, I did not take note of that, so I am as lost as everyone else.
Yeah, I
So
feel
we
like
haven't got a
the
contact name.
contact was basically given in passing last session, and I meant to reapply it today. But you are looking for Akin Celeborn, and he is in the outer city near the north gate, which is called the Black Gate.
Knowing that, then, Tinus will suggest, since we've come in from the south gate, we should probably start making our way north. Along the way, we can find a place to properly set ourselves, at least for the time being. We're not, I don't think we know quite sure how long we need to be in Baldur's Gate specifically, though our goal is to keep traveling north. And with that, Tinus will begin to head north, not ahead of the party, but just sort of like keeping towards that direction.
So, in different levels, you all see the four merchants who seem to have been on the barge, all seem to be kind of blending into this general trade district and all the goings on here in the southern end of Baldur's Gate. There is a mass of people. There's probably easily like 50 or 70 different people who seem to be making deals for the day, whether they are trying to sell all of the goods off of their carts or they are trying to hire porters to actually carry things through Baldur's Gate itself. But pretty quickly, you all would lose a general sight of those people who you traveled with, except for perhaps the Lady of Greenness, who still sticks out pretty clearly as there's rarely a green skin, let alone somebody who looks so humanoid and green. But you can start heading north through the city. It seems very interesting and odd for anybody who's never been into Baldur's Gate, as much of the city's stonework seems to be built on top of itself, as it's so vertical. Many things are just a vertical architecture, as things seem to be built in layers on top of layers, and there's just a level of squalor that kind of befits this entire area of the city. It's far more of a utility than it is a beautiful architecture of this area. But you guys spend about an hour and a half climbing almost 300 or 400 feet into the sky as you find yourselves at the northern end of the lower city. You see as a beautiful landscape of the upper city prevails to your west of you as you see this other part of the city walled off behind large, beautiful, ornate gates. Presents almost villas and vistas silhouetted across the sky, little bits of the ocean kind of peeking through here and there. But the upper city is very much starkly a different landscape entirely, as there seems to be not necessarily space to spare, but it is clearly built and preserved for the wealthy and those who can actually afford to have space to themselves.
Is like from the cutscenes of the new Baldur's Gate game, is it kind of similar to that, or is that not right? Because I think from
This
the
is
cutscenes, it was
100% me describing it on my own, from my little bits of understanding of Baldur's Gate. It has nothing to do with any other parts of Baldur's Gate lore.
got it.
What I know of Baldur's Gate is pretty minimal, and I have not actually gotten to play any of Baldur's Gate's video games.
Yeah, no
Nor
worries.
have I.
So, from the actual lore of the Forgotten Realms, I think probably all that is true to fact of what I've said is the fact that there are three general parts of Baldur's Gate City, and it is essentially built on the mountainside and across the river. Everything else has been mine.
Um, did we have any business with the merchants? asking to the rest of the party. Did we have any other business we wanted to conduct with the merchants, or do we want to just head off?
Well, I
Did you
do not
say
have.
specifically our contact, like who it was?
Yeah, he told us it's Aiken Celeborn, who is currently or is meant to be meeting us at the northern gate called the Black Gate. So, do we want to just head off specifically to meet our contact, or are we trying to do something else?
I think maybe we should get ourselves a little base somewhere first, find ourselves an inn or a tavern or something, and then maybe see if we can find his contact, or we can go and find him first since we know he's been in the Black Gate, and then go and search for somewhere to, relax.
Yeah, I was thinking of doing both. I was thinking we'll just head north towards the Black Gate, and on the way there, if we'll find an inn and just sort of pluck ourselves there while we continue on our way.
Yeah, and probably our contact can tell us where we could stay.
Oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. They
Can I
might have
kind of
like a
keep an
place.
eye out to make sure that nobody's like tailing us?
You can roll a perception check. There seems to be a long train of people who are passing along this very same road. So while you do what you can to look around and spot things, there doesn't seem to be any clear signs that you're being tailed. But it's really hard to tell, as from what you can gather, there is essentially a single road through Baldur's Gate, through the lower city, and that's what you guys are currently isolated to. Almost everything else is almost like a dead end alley, sort of, that kind of branches off of this main road, where all of the porters seem to be traveling with their large goods. But overall, it doesn't seem to be anybody is tailing you.
Okay, okay.
And a key thing of how you repeated this was Ekin is in the outer city. That was a part of the address. Was near the Black Gate in the outer city, not just near the Black Gate.
So shall we find a place to lay our heads for the night?
I think that would be best.
Sort of get our bearings, maybe grab a drink and some hot food.
Let's see if we can stay together.
Yes, I see no reason for us to split up this time.
So are you all going to look for the first place that looks like an inn? Are you going to try to find a place that is suitable for Arlisle and everybody will stay there? What would you like to look for as a inn of choice?
Arlisle, what is the lowest class establishment you're willing to stay in?
Somewhere that serves housewives.
Could I convince you to go lower?
Well, you can't get any lower than house wine, can you? What's lower than house wine?
Yeah, I was gonna say house wine's gonna be swill.
I have no idea what that word meant. So I was just assuming based on Arlisle's character that was like higher than normal trash.
House wine is just when you go to a restaurant and you just want the cheapest wine they've got. You say house wine, please.
Noted.
It's like a polite way of saying I'm not paying much tonight, but I still want to get paid.
It's sort of like asking for top shelf, but the opposite.
I thought you were
Basically,
asking for housewives, like Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Tonight on Real Housewives of Baldur's Gate.
Ooh, Housewives of Baldur's Gate sounds appealing. Is that an establishment around here, or do we need to ask for directions?
I'm sure we
Yep.
can find it.
I
Does
bet
anyone
some
have
housewives can
around like
make some good food.
anybody have around like 2 gold that I could borrow for the evening?
I mean, I do, but I fear I know exactly how you're going to spend it. Perhaps you should stay with the party for now, and you can achieve your extracurricular activities later on once we've established some goals.
Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Yeah, I'll just go with the flow on this one.
I can give you 7 copper coins.
All right, so we're looking for the first place we can find.
So let me get an investigation from whoever would like to head the search for an inn.
Yeah, I'll take that up. And it's a 10.
You are able to find what appears to be a hostel of sorts, and you can get everybody in a general kind of barrack sort of sleeping arrangement for 2 silver apiece, so a total of a gold across the party. And you guys have a barracks that seems to house about 10 people that you are able to make your own for the night. They've got like essentially dried rations and whatnot as part of that meal, where you guys can have some hardtack as well as a little bit of. Can't quite tell if it's like a Vegemite or if it's like a pemmican, but it's some sort of paste that has some sort of flavor that you can add to the hardtack.
Seems like a fine traveler's lodge.
This
Decent.
place is a shithole, even by my standards.
Is it? I've slept like this many a night.
I've passed out quite a few places, but I haven't like voluntarily slept places like they don't even serve a hot meal. But I'm not one to argue.
Well,
there's no problem with the sleeping places, but the food is like damn shit.
Yeah, I must agree with you,
well,
Hadar.
fine.
It's always worth a nice meal. You never know when it's going to be your last.
Fair enough. Let's look elsewhere. I'll let someone else take up that search.
Let's go by the nose.
Could we kind of like ask the keeper or innkeeper or whatever, like just to kind of get a bearing as to where the Black Gate is, or would we have already figured that out by now?
Well, you're gonna have to head outside of the main city here and into the outer city. That's the shithole of a slum that you'll find on the north end here. Just beyond the lower city, it's that whole hovel area. I might suggest to you that you keep yourselves well protected in such an area. There's very few people who would spend the night there and not have the worst of intentions for you. But if you think we are ill-suited to take care of you here, I wish you luck on your journey into the outer city.
Oh no, I don't mean to give you the wrong idea. I mean no offense. We're just looking to find something while we're here. I do appreciate your help, and I'll reach into my coin purse, and there's nothing there, so I'll just reach my hand out to like shake the innkeeper's hand instead.
They like perk a little bit of a smile as you reach into your little coin bag, and as they shake and feel that there is no coin in between your hand, you see as they kind of like shake their hand and then like kind of aggressively wipe it off on their leather pantaloons.
Owe you one. I'm good to leave.
Yes, I'm sure.
Off we get then. Yeah, I guess, yeah, someone else can try to find a place as we leave this one. But I don't suggest we spend a night in the outer city. Perhaps we should just spend our nights here and venture to the outer city when we're ready.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that would stop us from returning, but I think it's probably a good idea to try and make contact and sort of get an idea as to our next course of action.
That's also reasonable. A wise decision.
So
Oh, go ahead.
assuming that you've made most of the climb through the lower city, you all are essentially in between um, the getting to the point of the outer city as well as like the upper city. And these 3 levels, this convergence is vaguely where you all would be at, where you are certainly welcome to head out further into the outer city, and that's where you would find what is basically called the Black Gate. Is far less of a gate than it is a like checkpoint for the people who are disenfranchised and stuck in this area of almost being in Baldur's Gate. And it is essentially that's what the Black Gate is it is a soft defensive position at which, when this city is raided by nefarious forces, that's where they mount what defenses that they have. And you guys are basically at the point of vaguely leaving the lower city where you are currently at.
Yeah, so we'll just fully leave the lower city and head into the outer city.
And what in particular are you looking for in the outer city?
Since, well, we don't know specifically where. Do we know specifically where that checkpoint is? Is it within like sight range, or would we have to ask for directions?
Um, like the Black Gate, you could certainly ask for directions to the Black Gate. The person who you asked at that hostel was basically kind of put off on the idea that you were not going to be patrons. And they essentially gave you that little bit of a warning that, sure, if you want to head into the outer city, go for it. Best wishes to you, and I wish I was in the market for selling selling coffins.
Did we get any sort of idea as to where we could find this Aiken sellable? Are we just gonna have to ask around? Are we supposed to be discreet about this? I didn't really pick up too much on that.
Well, discretion is always key.
Do we know any details about this one? Was he like part of the order, or I might have just missed that part because I normally take pretty good notes, but I didn't catch any of that.
Yeah, so again, I kind of feel like I brushed over bringing it back up today to reapply the thought. But he is simply Onthar's contact in Baldur's Gate. He was meant to be somebody who is one of the businesses that outfits anybody who is leaving Baldur's Gate. So he is not necessarily somebody of the order, but you are essentially looking for somebody who operates one of the like goods and services, kind of selling things that you would use before long travels, and would be vaguely affiliated with the caravans that head to the north. So it's purely, it would be that kind of vagueness that you guys understand where he operates out of, or actually, I think it's a she, but where she operates out of, the fact that she is essentially a outfitter, and that you have a vague introduction from Onthar, that they might be able to help you get into a caravan of into the north, whether you try to get hired as guards or whether you try to get hired in different ways or whether you try to basically um, buy your own caravan or buy your own wagon and horses to head into the north.
Oh, that makes it a little easier. So then we're going to be heading into the outer city, and we're going to be looking for an outfitter's shop.
Yeah, I guess we'll just kind of keep our eye out for like merchants or like a general store or something like that as we get out there, or kind of ask around about where we could find said general store or merchant.
Yeah, we're going to ask if we're looking to travel, where do we go to get our get ourselves fitted for a long journey?
Let me have Doc do an investigation. So you are able to find a location where it seems like different merchants are loading up wagons with different goods, and they are starting to set things up with tarpaulins to protect them for the evening. Um, but they are essentially just kind of doing the last minute gatherings of their goods onto their carts, as this is already kind of like early afternoon as you all are reaching this section of Baldur's Gate. But it seems like you've come across the first place that seems to be a outfitters of sorts.
Let's have a look around and see if we see any females in charge.
Let me have you roll a perception. There seems to be a few different females who are walking around this area that seem to be helping.
Anyone else have any ideas? I'm not sure it's the best idea to just start dropping names.
I don't believe we have any reason to hide this name. From what we were told from Montar, she just works here. so she would be a known person here.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
With that stated, Tynus will go up to one of the, I guess, various women Doc spotted and try to ask one of them.
And what are you saying?
If I could have a moment of your time, I'm looking for Aiken Celeborn.
Aiken, hmm. I believe she's left for the evening, but if you give me a few moments, what might I be able to tell her that you are inquiring about?
You can tell her Ontar sent us to get some work guarding merchant caravans.
Onthar, alrighty. Let me see what I can find, and I'll be back with you in just a jiffy.
I appreciate that.
After a little bit, you have someone kind of come back from the back area of everything, and they kind of uh, pop their face kind of out from behind like one of the like a window in this like I don't know, kind of like a general open courtyard area. Are you all the ones looking for me? What might I be able to help you with?
We're looking for some work traveling with the caravans going north.
Oh, excellent. Well, I don't actually work with anybody who hires out any of the guards, but I can certainly point you into a direction. Is there anyone in particular that any sort of skills that you all have, the type of things that would make it a little bit easier to get you hired? Many people are looking for a few guards here and there.
Oh, well, we have quite a competent fighter on our side. He was able to shoot an arrow through an ogre's eye.
All right, so a basic ass soldier.
Correct. I'm kidding. uh, we are very competent and very experienced in battle. I am capable of performing miracles that can very much assist any caravaner in their defense going forward. That includes restoring anyone who might fall in the protection of such a thing. We also have an orc on our side, if you see my friend here, and
I'll wave.
a paladin of exceptional quality, and a monk, Hadar. We're quite a competent defensive force.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we have a basic ass fighter, a human that talks out of his ass, some orc of sorts, a pretty boy, and a ball of fat. Um,
He prefers the
fast,
term thick monk.
yeah,
yes, thick.
But I
a
believe he
fast
spells
thick
it with
monk.
two C's.
Spelled with two C's.
Two C's is correct, and she will wink at Hadar.
I'm just gonna tell you, I'm the fastest fat that you ever see.
Well, it might be difficult to place all of you in the same caravan having no skills of actual use, but, perhaps if you are able, I believe anybody who would be looking to leave in the immediacy would probably already be outfitted and have their own guards, but, perhaps if you all take some time to figure yourselves out, we might be able to find, a merchant or two who are looking to hire some folks. When is it that you are looking to leave? Are you just looking to head out on one of the soonest merchant caravans that you can find? Is there?
Well, if I could potentially interject, sorry, and I'm going to get a bit closer, I'm going to lean in a little bit, I'm going to say quietly. The person who sent us has sent us from the greenest area and was hoping maybe perhaps that you would be a reliable contact here, but it's not really the kind of conversation we should be having out in the open, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it was probably a silly choice to have mentioned his name to just one of my lowly workers. So I definitely appreciate your thoughts there. But on that same level, There's probably well, it's going to be difficult regardless, and there's certainly options for you all still. We'll just have to kind of see. I don't really have any pull with any of the outfitters or any of the caravans themselves. I really just outfit them, but you can most certainly use me as a recommendation of sorts.
Yeah, that does a name from the greenest area that begins with L mean anything to
Yes, Elturel, that's where he is currently based. Yes.
you? No, no. I'm gonna. Actually, I don't have any parchment to write it down on, so I'm just gonna lean in really close and just whisper into her ear, and I'm just gonna say, "Theosin."
Theosin to you as well, good sir. Is
Fuck.
that some sort of flirting in where you're from?
Did it not give you goosebumps?
I definitely got a shiver of sorts, but wasn't a good kind.
You'll come round in the end. They always come around. I'm just
Uh,
gonna walk off a little bit then. Failed by attempt to try and hint that we got a higher purpose.
yeah, you can gather from that this person doesn't actually know who Leosin is. But they basically kind of point you off towards a area around the Black Gate where some of the different caravans kind of gather as they are essentially ready to go, and they look for different wayfarers who might operate as guards. And kind of like points you off there is like it's almost like an open market where it's just more or less kind of like hang out there, try to talk to enough people who seem to be leaving on a caravan, and with any luck, you might be able to trick somebody into thinking that you serve some value.
We do serve that. We serve a lot of it collectively as a team. We had a long, drawn-out battle against an ogre and stood victorious at the end.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. It definitely doesn't sound like somebody talking out of their ass. That is definitely the story of real heroes fighting ogres. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did anyone remember to sever the head and bring it with them?
That would have been quite gruesome.
That ogre pretty much severed my head with a single blow.
That sounds a little bit more like the kind of story that would come from an ogre meeting. So perhaps you ran away from an ogre, but it's hard to say that, yeah, you definitely fought and killed an ogre alone.
Are you familiar with the spell Zone of Truth at all?
I don't really take kindly to the ways of magic use. Not that I am opposed per se, but I personally have no actual abilities in such things, and I don't really have an inclination to be around them either.
So, say if one of our party was to cast it, and you were to watch that person cast it, and then other members of the party were to stand inside of it and tell you of our conquests, would you believe that was truthful then, or would you not understand what that spell meant?
I mean, I can say whatever I might care to say if I were working hard enough to tell a lie. I don't believe anybody has not seen some of the bards who like to weave their own tall tales.
Well, very well then. I'm not going to get in any trouble for casting a spell here in the middle of Baldur's Gate.
You probably won't have much to worry about other than if you kill someone.
All right, I cast Zone of Truth then around me to incorporate the party, and I'm going to turn to Doc and say, Doc, how long did it take you to kill that ogre, and how many arrows did you use? Without the
was probably about I don't know, maybe 10 seconds or 12, and I believe it was a total of 4 arrows, if I'm not mistaken.
Very good. And have you or have you not ever fought a dragon, and have you scared one off using a large weapon of any?
I have shot a dragon with a ballista on a single occasion, in which I did strike it critically in the heart, and it fled for its very life, although it did slay one of my compatriots.
Make a wisdom saving
And
throw, please.
vicious.
What's your DC?
Oh, for me, 40.
Alrighty. Well, now I know
And
you're
Vicious,
telling.
how many?
Wait, what was the last thing? I missed it.
Now I know you're telling a lie. Surely you have not injured a dragon on your own. And again, you can tell what stories that you might care to tell, but take your time to find and think them out before you share them with the merchants who might care to hire you. There are plenty of people who might want to hire you, but I assure you, you have my recommendation on a suggestion from our mutual friend. He asked for this favor. I might be entertained to hear some stories to laugh to, but you don't need to convince me of any of your lies. Save those tales for when you try to find one of your merchants to head north with. She has no understanding of what zone and truth is. So, as far as things go, there's no effect to it. But this is not somebody that you need to sway to your favor. She is purely just somebody who Onthar was sending you to as a contact to get hired into one of the caravans.
All right, got it. I missed that part. I thought this was some kind of like special secret contact.
But she got a good chuckle out of the stories from Doc.
I mean, we're just getting started. We're going to move on to Vicious now.
Well, it's probably a little bit too late to find any parties that are going to be leaving the area. Have you all secured any sort of lodgings? Is there anything that you need to accomplish while you are here in Baldur's Gate before you go? Or are you looking to get on one of the earliest wagon trains out of here?
We don't have any accommodation sorted as of yet, but if you have any recommendations, that would be fantastic. As for general supplies, I imagine our ball friend here would require some food in some form. Otherwise, it looks like he might pass out. It has been a solid 5 minutes since you last ate.
Just
Yeah.
sort of out of character, real quick. Did we pick up on any other like specific goals or things that we needed to do in Baldur's Gate, or is this supposed to sort of just be like a town of passing?
You all are trying to stealthily track the cultists to wherever they are going. And you had a solid understanding that they were going generally from Baldur's Gate, likely towards Waterdeep, because that's where most travel ends up being. But part of what you are looking to do is to confirm that. I'm going to throw it out there out of character. You all have already done a quite solid job to do anything but be stealthy on this.
Okay, but as far as like actual Baldur's Gate, we didn't necessarily know anything in specific, and the main direction was just like what we got about heading north.
Yeah, essentially, Baldur's Gate is just the place that almost all merchants will have to go through on the trip north. Any other path that kind of makes its way up there is far more dangerous and far less traveled, whereas essentially the normal traffic of merchants is enough that there are pretty much constantly actual trains of caravans heading north and south along the coastway.
Okay, cool. Just out of curiosity, darling, I can tell you're quite impressed by our party and our skills or stories, whatever you choose to believe or not. Um, I am curious, though. Have you heard much rumors of bands of mercenaries or followers of the winged ones killing or kidnapping or anything like that to the north or caravans?
I usually keep to myself, so in most instances, I don't really go around for gossip, but I don't doubt that there might be some increased traffic for such things, but it's hard to tell in a place like Baldur's Gate. We don't tend to have any less than a busy day. But as far as I can tell, I don't believe that we've had any increase of vagabonds and mercenaries of sort. But it is often difficult to tell the difference between one and the other.
That is good to hear. Good to hear. And just one final question as well. But we will take you up on the lodging offer and would appreciate if you could put in a good word with any caravans leaving in the near future.
Well, no. You can use me as a recommendation if you need to drop a name. I'm gonna have to be at work tomorrow, so I won't be there to give you any connections. You can just drop my name.
Understood, understood. Much appreciated. Um, okay, great. I think that will do, unless anyone else has any other questions. Do you have any recommendations for some average establishments in the local area to stay?
Well, it's hard to pick out one from the next if you can't find your way into the upper city. Most everything is probably going to be below average. But with any luck, you might find yourself in a nicer condition if you are able to. Well, let's see. She's kind of like eyeing Arlyle up and down. You might want to. Well, the slums of the outer city might be a little bit below your status. Uh,
Slums, sorry, I'm not familiar with that.
if you all have the coin to spend, you might find yourself worthy of heading into Baldur's Gate's upper city and try to find a nicer area there to find an inn. Otherwise, if you are to head into the lower city area, you might be able to find a nice spot to enjoy yourself. There are many different inns. You can't go too wrong this way or that. But if you do decide that you'd like to stay in the outer city, again, close to where the merchants would be looking early in the morning, I would probably have to point you towards the Fox Travelers Inn. That's probably the nicest establishment that you might find a suitable place to lay your head.
Say if I was to go there on my own and my travelling companions were to find somewhere more, comfortable for them, where would you suggest for them?
Much more comfortable than the Fox Traveler Inn is going to be stables of sorts.
Fox Traveller in it is then, thank
Yeah, when I say it's the nicer establishment, that's for the outer city itself. Um, um, Besides the few of us who make a little bit more money, the outer city isn't a place to enjoy yourself so much as a place to get through life.
That makes perfect sense to me.
much. So should we head there now, or does anybody have any other business to attend to first?
While the day is young, I would like to retry my search for that chain shirt.
It's like 5:30 in the evening, but you can most certainly try to check at a merchant.
Yes, I will try to. Hold on. Yes, I will try to check at a merchant.
Can you roll a D100?
81.
You are able to find a chain shirt. It is for sale at. You can get it at the 50 gold.
Well, if no one has any objections, I will absolutely buy that.
Okay.
Seems overpriced.
It's standard book price.
We can get a discount if you make it a crop top.
I will not go around in a crop top.
Shit, you could have found it in Elturel if you were going for a crop top.
No, I don't. I don't believe I will. But with that small bit of business out of the way, I believe, given our party's typical standard of lodging, we should head into the city of Baldur's Gate directly and find some place to lay our heads there. Unless you all do like this foxtrot idea.
Well, I mean, I could have my arm twisted to stay there if it's, passable. Any sign of any living creatures in there or of any sort, then, I'll be out of there and I'll make my way into the city. But we can at least scope it out. What's the worst that can happen? We catch fleas. We're not going to catch fleas.
I don't think so. Unless there are actual foxes running around.
Well, I
So,
guess we should.
yeah. We're heading to the Foxtrot to scope it out in terms of our taste, but otherwise, I guess we'll head into Baldur's Gate after that.
So, within moments of coming into sight of the Fox Travelers Inn, you see a very large single-story building that seems to kind of be like scattered across this more generally open area of this northern side of Baldur's Gate, nearly onto the plains of the Fields of the Dead. And you are overlooking probably what can only be summarized as a biker's bar. I am trying to think of the festival out in Texas. It's like one of the largest like concerts and like bikers things.
South by
Like
Southwest.
that sounds roughly right. Where it is basically like you walk up to the Fox Traveler Inn and you just see 150 people just kind of like out in the open almost, and they're all just seem to be wasted. There's probably at least three different fights within view as you all kind of like get your first eye on this little area. And it's pretty quick to surmise that if this is the nice place in the slums, then you can only go up from here.
Yes, my hopes are very low.
Into the city we go then.
You're joking, right? This place looks absolutely fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it
This is
otherwise
the
looks like a
place we would
hotel
come to
basically,
for a party.
with like
Oh.
all four not hotel, motel. All four, like it's basically a large square ahead of you, and it's almost like an open like promenade around the outside where it seems like everybody is, and then there's like four different entrances into like it would be an atrium if it weren't a single story, but essentially a large open center where it seems that there is more shenanigans happening inside. But this certainly seems like a happening place to be. It's just not a casual happening place to be.
Well, I was all for sleeping in barrack lodging, so my tastes are not very particular in where we rest our heads. So I believe me and Doc are already on board with this place.
Yes, it might not be the nicest establishment in town, but I'm sure we can have a little fun, stay close to the rendezvous for the morning, and who knows? This looks like the type of place where we might find someone with loose lips.
Yes, I bet you'd pay good money for those, wouldn't
I was referring more to information, but I may have some ulterior motives as well.
you? That big angry man with the beard over there looks like he might. There's two silver. Why don't you go ask him what services he offers?
I think that's a woman.
Oh yes, you're right, a dwarf. I didn't notice it.
Anyway, let's proceed on and get our lodgings. And Tynus will try to head in and avoid most of the rabble, trying to find a place to, check in, as it were.
Yeah, I'll sort of follow behind, just kind of purveying the atmosphere.
It almost feels like the more effort that you put into trying to avoid people, the more you seem to have somebody slammed into you at any given time while you are trying to walk through.
Excuse me, just making my way through.
Excuse what? Did you pick my pocket?
No, of course not. I was just trying to get by. Tynus will hurry along. Just instead of trying to dodge people now, he's just trying to get through the crowd, period.
Well, yeah.
That was an experience. Now, where do we get rooms?
As we pass there, Hyda's gonna try to sniff if he can smell food.
This specific area is going to reek far more like stale ale, but there does seem to be some sort of a scent on the air as if there were food being prepared. I think your nose is probably adept enough that you can kind of spot the area, and as Hadar starts to wander off towards the smell of food, you all would pretty quickly recognize that he also appears to be wandering towards what must be the purveyor of this fine establishment, as there seems to be somebody who's kind of like sat back almost, not like casually watching over everything, but they seem to be kind of like sat back watching everything with like a sly smile on their face, as they seem to have what would appear to be bouncers of sorts wearing tunics that have a embroidered fox on like kind of the chest of their tunics. And this person is kind of sitting there with a large hound of sorts that I believe it wouldn't take anybody any time at all to recognize that they seem to have a pet hellhound.
Oh my god.
I cast Bind. No, I'm joking.
Turn undead.
That was the one.
Nothing bad could possibly happen by doing such things inside of Baldur's Gate.
Of course not. Then yeah, we will approach. We'll approach that person, and Tynus will request some rooms.
How many are y'all looking for?
How many are clean?
What's clean mean?
Nothing creepy crawly living in there. It's been exposed to water recently, that sort of thing. No smell.
You look like you enjoy a good creepy crawly. And he like throws a big elbow into you.
Yes, quite. Thank you for that. I really appreciated it. So about those rooms, my friend, how are we looking? What are your best rooms?
Best room, 5 gold apiece.
5
5 gold
Highway
apiece. We
robbery.
look like we're made in. We haven't got 5 gold between us. Never mind 5 gold apiece. What's your most best price you can do for us in a normal room?
You look like a fancy dandy. You don't have 5 gold.
That's right. The man I killed and took these clothes from probably had some money at some point, but he certainly didn't when I stole his clothes.
Was he a friend of mine?
Do you have friends who dress like this?
Well, he might have taken it from a different dandy. Where'd you kill him? What'd you do with the body? Yeah, you're kind. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, it was. Oh, sorry. I was holding on control. That was. It was somewhere out in the field, somewhere far away from here. To be fair, it was about 3 years ago. I've been wearing his clothes since.
It doesn't
And the
look
body,
like
don't
3
know.
years. It's a nice little yarn you got there. I think you've got the 5 gold for your room. Just shill it out.
How about 3 gold apiece?
Well, how
I
about 3
suppose we could
gold and
double
it's
up right
just one of my nicer rooms.
Well, how many people is it per room? There's a good starting point. We can work from there, can't we, my friend?
How many people do you have? It looks like one that I'm looking at.
Well, there's me. There's the dirty one. There's the one who looks like a bit of a holy man. There's the ball.
I'm the
And there's
holy
the
man.
orc. So it's yes, yes.
I
there
am
you
the
are.
ball.
Don't tussle.
You look like you've
No one knows
eaten the
which one's
whole
orc.
entree. Maybe even the table too. Holy.
You have tables to eat here?
Don't be eating the table. It was a joke.
Well, you got me there. I thought you had some good tables to eat here. Good joke, man. I'm joking too.
So what? There's 2, 4. There's 7 of you? It'll be 21 gold.
Ooh, close. Good try. You did really well there. There's 5 of us.
5. That's 18 gold.
Ooh, close. 5 times 3 is 15. You were doing really good. I'll tell you what. I'll
Don't
give
you
an
lie
extra
to me. It's my prices, and I said 3 gold apiece. That's 18 gold.
I think it's
How about we
19
all
gold.
have 3 gold in our hands and
No,
all
it's
pay for it?
not.
Are you trying to trick me?
If we all have. No, I'm trying to show you how friends make sure friends don't get ripped off. I'm your friend, right? Because you're in this
You don't
wonderful
look like my
establishment. which
friend. You
seems
look like a
brilliant.
dandy.
He is a dandy, and that's why he has his clothes,
See,
man.
even the big one knows that you're a dandy.
I'm not denying that I'm a dandy. I'm just saying I'm a friend. I mean, I bet this dandy could bring you under the table.
You can do what to me under the table? No, 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 no. That's what the hellhound's for.
I don't even want to know what that's about. How about 15 gold and I'll buy you a big drink? How's that?
All right, the drink's 3 gold.
All right, you know what? I like that was a funny joke, and I like you, so I'll do it.
The name's Aravax. I'll be here all night. Wait, no. I actually own the place, so I'm always here. But also all night.
Pleasure to meet you. My name's Arlisle, and I'll go to shake his hand begrudgingly. And I'm with these people, and we'll be here for one.
Excellent. Well, oh, come over here and show these people. There's six of them. Give them 2 rooms and show them off to the rooms. And Aravax like hands this guy like 2 different like kind of like tags basically. None of these rooms are specifically set up to where they lock specifically in any fashion. But he basically gives you like it's just their little like symbol that shows that you've paid Aravax for the room, and he sends you off with one of his guards, who's standing there with the fox embroidered tunic, and they take you off to rooms that are relatively close to each other, but you guys are essentially like isolated along like the northeastern kind of side of this square on the inside of the square.
Fine wheeling and dealing, as it were.
And then he like yells off from a distance, and don't be forgetting that. Wait a second, I pour the beers. Thanks for the drink.
My pleasure.
So as you all are basically taken to the first set of rooms, or the first room, you kind of open it up and it's a room. There's cots.
It's a room.
That definitely make you think, yeah, that can be slept on. But there's otherwise very little fanfare to be spoken about how nice this place is. And as he gets to the second room with the last 2 of you, he's kind of looking over the last 2 and he's... Where'd the other one go? Oh, there were 6. Are y'all play... Oh, damn, I'm doing the exact same voice. are y'all playing a trick on me?
Did you count yourself?
Oh, I guess I can stay with you all. That'd be mighty fine of you.
Yes, we could do it with a draft excluded line in front of the door. Very kind of you to offer.
So you all have otherwise gathered up some fine lodgings for the evening, and you are currently staying at the Fox Traveler Inn.
Nice. I feel like we totally just got ripped off.
100.
Yeah.
Probably. Can we keep the pillows?
Yeah, I'm surprised
I'm seeing
nobody asked for an
everything else.
insight check. And 100% there are no pillows. It's definitely like a cot for you to lay down your like bedding material on. But I think overall you can probably gather that 1, this person does not have a different status of rooms. And 2, he probably looked at Arlisle and said the highest number that he thought he might be able to get away with.
But I
Why
am
do-
very persuasive.
It's okay. It's only money.
I got a +6 to persuasion, but I didn't get a chance.
I mean, you bargained the price down to 3. He just also can't count.
Yeah,
True.
that was some great wheeling and dealing you just did.
I tried. I know we're lower on money at the moment.
We're still pretty good on money, actually.
How much we got left?
We currently have 87 gold pieces.
That's not too bad, I guess. Could be worse. Could be 80.
Yeah, I mean,
You guys are
still more than most commoners see in their lives, or at least in their year.
That's what the horror thought, who got 2 gold and a set of dice off of Duck.
Yeah, that's good money for a commoner. So we're still doing pretty good by the world standards in terms of gold.
So if everyone is going to sleep, you have a relatively uneventful night, though it's not terribly restful, as by the sound of things, nothing calms down in this place while the sun is down.
Did Doc slip out in the night at some point?
Did he slip out to go and slip in?
I wasn't gonna say it that blatantly, but yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I'm a blatant person.
Oh, wait, Doc says BRB in the chat. I guess.
I think that
Oh,
was a while ago. Any nightly activities from Doc?
Oh no, I gotta rest up tonight. Make sure that we're up early tomorrow. I might have a couple of drinks, but nothing exciting.
So yeah, we can wake up with the next morning. You all are just outside of the main market area, so when everybody starts to come to consciousness, it's not long before you're able to gather yourselves. It is certainly a nice night's sleep compared to sleeping just on the ground, but otherwise it is very similar, having stayed at the Fox Travelers Inn, to sleeping out in the wilderness. And the sound of all of the humanoids who seem to be staying in this place is very similar to the baying of wolves across the night on a full moon. So what would you all like to do as you awake to the next morning?
I want to eat breakfast.
I can only roleplay so much eating when your character is focused on eating. There's always food, you can just spend gold.
Yeah, I
want
definitely
this.
want to get up early and make sure that we're like some of the first people out there in the morning to try to secure a position.
Yeah, we're gonna try to definitely that caravan securing.
Right. And if we're out first, then we can be first at the breakfast buffet.
In
Oh.
passing.
It's almost like an open market, where there just seems to be people who kind of like congregate around the different merchants who seem to be setting up their wagons for the caravan north. And you all basically have the ability to kind of just walk around and try to approach people and see if you can discuss and get them to hire you.
My friends, I am not the most persuasive of men, so if one of us is a bit more of a smooth talker, I believe they should be our front man, as they say.
I guess that would be vicious.
I mean, I can talk a lot, but I don't know if I can sell our group good.
I mean, yeah, our game, like I've got about +6 to persuasion, so but my rolls are dog shit, so it's basically like a +2. If anyone's got more than a +2, they're better off than me.
I have a -1, so like not me.
Well, we're basically the same.
So Doc, you're usually very good at talking to people.
Yes, I have my way with words and can be quite persuasive in one way or another. And he'll sort of like look down at his daggers.
Well, I think between you and Arlyle, we should be fine.
We
All
can
right,
give it a try.
perfect. Yes. So I guess I'll look for like the nicest caravan or like one that would potentially pay the best based on like how it looks, and try to sell our services to them.
I'm gonna slap a guidance on him while he heads off to do that.
Can I do like a perception check to see who looks like they have like a nice cart or like a like well dressed or whatever like that would potentially be like our best job?
Yeah, you can roll a perception to kind of judge people based on their outward looks. You
Just
kind of
like
like
real life.
spend some time eyeing people as you try to look over things, spotting across some of the different caravans. There seem to be a few that seem in nicer traveling clothes. So if you would like to approach one of them, you can most certainly try.
Yeah, perfect. That's what I'll do.
So I need.
Hello there.
Hello. What can I do for you?
Planning on departing today, are you? Looks like you could use a fine set of gentlemen and a lady to watch over you, make sure that you arrive where you're going without any troubles, or should the troubles come your way, make sure that you live.
That's certainly an interesting thought. I'd be looking to hire maybe one guard of sorts. Otherwise, me and the boy here, we're kind of banking on the thought that the main caravan will be enough to protect us overall.
Doubt that you could afford our services, to tell you the truth. We're more like the mm, elite set of 5 or 6 that might make sure that you arrive at your location rather than just rolling the dice, so to speak.
Best of luck to you.
We'll keep an eye out for you, though, and your son as well. Is there anybody else that looks like maybe like with a wagon or larger? Mark?
You guys have already been told that most of these wagons hire 2 or 3 guards, a lot hire less. Trying to get hired as a group is going to be next to impossible for you. So, trying to get hired by a person is what you all are going to have to do. That's why when you were speaking with Aiken, she kind of was like laughing about how you all were describing yourselves, because you were going to have to actually either individually persuade somebody to hire you or show some sort of a feat of strength to make yourself seem worthy of being hired.
I guess with that, Doc will sort of make a little spectacle. Hear ye, hear ye. This caravan getting ready to depart today. We could offer up our services for this group to assure that you all arrive at your location still with your riches and your lives. We mean no harm, but we can make sure that none befalls upon you. Are there any here that would care to take us up on an offer? Perhaps you can pool your resources.
Oh, well, we're gonna need a guard or two. We can pay you, a little bit of money once we arrive in Waterdeep. If you're able to get us there safely, once we sell everything, we'll be able to pay your wages. I think we could probably do, um, if it takes, we could probably, well, I mean, I know it'll be worth your time. Literally, just
All
like
right.
one wagon kind of caught your attention, or caught their attention when you said that. But again, like, essentially what you guys are coming to here is you need to get hired more than you are going to be able to be hired as the guardians of a caravan.
Okay, I got you. Perfect. Yeah, so we'll take them up. All right, excellent. Remain here for a moment as we secure a few other individuals as well. And I guess I'll just kind of like go around and just try to like lock up a couple jobs for us, so that we're essentially like purposeful and not just like a bunch of us guarding 2 people.
No. But again, my point is I'm going to have each of you roll individually. So right now,
Oh,
Doc, you are going to be able to roll with either of those 2, but that's what you guys are coming to. Like,
Oh,
I know you
I
have
see.
thoughts of getting hired as a group, but it's not going to work out like that.
okay. I was like
Nobody.
picturing this is like a whole big caravan, thinking they would like throw in together for us to like guard the
Yeah.
whole caravan. But
It's
I
a
get what you mean.
caravan of a whole bunch of different singular merchants, and I'm sure somebody out there would love to get you all contracted on that idea, but most people are wise enough doing this as a life's work that if you try to agree as a unit to pay someone, you might find yourself at the end of the road, and some of the people are missing when it comes to payday.
Right, right. I get what you mean. Like people would be afraid that we're just not going to worry about them after they throw in. Okay, cool. Well, I'll let everybody else do their thing, and I'll secure these first 2 groups for like however many of us that they would require.
It's, again, just you. So if you want to be persuasive, you can roll a persuasion for me. If you want to, I think that's pretty much what you've done. So just let me get a persuasion check from you. You seem competent enough that I believe I could pay you 8 gold per 10 day, and we can feed and set you up in any living expenses that we might have along the way.
You have my blades and my bow, friend. I assure you that you will arrive on time and in good health.
So are we
Ah,
trying to?
just hold up. So, among part of your contract, you will have to be one of the sergeants for me, taking care of my other guards. They're um, rather seasoned individuals, but they don't seem to be all that perhaps you are. So, if you don't mind, you would be in a little bit more of a leadership position for my group. Does that sound copacetic? And he puts his hand out to shake your hand back.
Yes, I have served quite a bit of time as a soldier myself, so I've no problem taking orders as well as giving them. And I'll shake his hand and make a deal.
Excellent. It is a fine chance meeting here. And what, pray tell, is your name?
They call me a doc, but I am not a doctor. And what is your name, fine sir?
Not a doctor.
No, it's just a nickname.
Intriguing. Are you? Well, perhaps we can discuss this on the road. That seems awfully weird to call yourself doc and not be a doctor. No medical training?
Oh, I've done a few surgeries here and there.
Well, my name, sir, is Owen. You can call me Owen, or you can call me even more. And this here is uh, what's your name there? Car. Yeah, that there's Car, and that's Fatil. You can definitely tell them what they need to be told when the time comes about. But otherwise, it's a pleasure to have met your acquaintance there, Doc.
Pleasure to meet you as well, Oren and Ka, Fatil. Just follow my lead.
Oin. Oin. There's no R.
I apologize, Owen Evermore.
So
And
is it Waterdeep we're trying to get to? So,
y'all are going north in the caravan.
all right. So I mean, because I'm sorry, I wasn't present for this part of the plan. We're escorting caravans to get up north, are we? But anywhere in particular?
No. Your quest is to learn more about where the cultists are going and do it without giving yourselves away.
All right. Okay. So I've got to be subtle but strong to get a good caravan. I'm gonna like stand on top of a barrel or something and raise my sword in the air, and then I'm gonna use thaumaturgy to make my voice boom 3 times as loud as normal. I'm gonna shout, "Who here requires safe passage under my guarding them? No harm will come to you or your wares. Who's got the gold to recruit me? Yeah,
So let me have a persuasion from you.
it's gonna be at least a 7, so that's something from me for Jack. Yeah, take that. 8.
You see as a little green girl starts to run up towards you, and after a few moments, she kind of like lets everything die down, and she's like, "Hey, I remember you. Did you remember me? I'm from the boat. Do you remember me? If you can you come here? I'm going to Water Deep, and I really need to get there safely. I want to not be green anymore."
Yes, I do, and as I remember correctly, you didn't seem to have that much gold, though, did you?
Who told you that?
Just the impression you get. You see, I'm more of a elite guardian, and I'm looking for somebody who really requires true safe protection. And of course, if you're willing to pay for that, I can provide that. I can even have a little go at healing you on the way if you so require.
I don't know what true safe protection is. And she kind of like gives you the like come here finger as she wants you to like kind of bend down so she can whisper. I believe Arlyle is pretty fucking tall.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're 6'1". She's probably about like
not
5.
at least.
I think you forgot that my whole city is helping me make my way to Waterdeep. I can pay you 10 gold and any living and food expenses. All you have to do is help bodyguard me. Okay. Does that sound good?
Yes, that sounds good to me. You've got yourself a deal.
And I think I skipped it, but it's 10 gold a 10 day. That's a really firm shake you've got there. I think we're going to do great. I'm really excited for this business venture.
Yeah, we can have fun along the way as well. It's not have to be about serious business.
I'm just green with excitement.
Oh, you're making me green with it.
At this point, while he's making his deal, Tynus will tap Vicious on the shoulder and say, "I think you and I might be able to get work together easier than separately.
Tynus, there might
Yes,
be there might be the opportunity for you. If you may look around, you remember the one guy selling porcelain? He's probably somewhere around here.
I am expressly avoiding that person. But if you're interested in being lectured on, I don't even want to say it, offer him a gold and ask him to talk to you.
Well, I'm not gonna offer him one gold coin. I'm sure of that. I would be more looking for someone who sells food, and I would want to look for someone who sells food so I can travel with them.
Right. So, Vicious, what do you say?
Doesn't much matter to me.
Right, follow me. And Tynus will approach one of the caravans directly. One of the ones who doesn't currently have a guard or any sort of protection. And he will just speak to the person who looks to be in charge. And he will say, I'm willing to offer my services and my companion services to guard your part of the caravan on the way north.
Working for free, holy man.
Not quite for free, but for very little. The protection of Lothander extends to all living things.
Excellent. If free it is, free it is. That sounds wonderful by me.
I believe you misunderstood. How about 10 copper a 10-day?
You look just about worth that. I think I could probably pay you that.
My partner will also be working with me, and he references Vicious.
Of course.
Name's Nearite. It's a pleasure to be doing business with you. Y'all help me get these silks up to water deep. I believe we'll be rolling in the coppers for you two.
Wonderful.
Silver would be better.
It's already been negotiated. 10 copper a 10-day.
I think that's quite fair.
Well, as long as food's thrown in.
Yeah, it wasn't part of the negotiations. Let's see. Haydar. Let me actually find one of these NPCs who is slinging food, because I'm pretty sure I've got one here. We can definitely have your nose take you directly to them. But give me just one
That
second.
would be great.
Yeah, you find what appears to be a male half-elf who seems to have a cart that's labeled across it, Seshpool's wagon. And it seems like this person is like a basically like traveling food wagon. And he is set up with, there's different like ales and beers like in extremely large kegs, as well as he. Well, we certainly could use some extra assistance. What sort of uses do you have, and perhaps even a guarantee that you're not going to eat me out of house and home?
First of all, I can assure you that I'm able to protect you for whatever will happen, and I'm quite fast, so if there will be some danger or everything, I will be the first one to protect you and your stuff, and if it's perhaps a danger that's too big for anyone to face, I will carry you myself and run with you away, and I will take part of the food for that. I would be happy when you to take. Well, I must say I eat more than normal people, so I would protect you for
You
no money,
look
but
like
for
you
food.
eat more.
Yeah, I can't hide that. You see, I mean, I eat a lot.
Did you say he would
But
work for food?
yeah, I would work for food. You know,
He takes your hand and he's shaking your hand already. It's a deal. I'll feed you and we'll get you set up on this fine journey here.
I'm happy we find ourselves we made a deal here. As you see, Haydar's happy that he knows he's gonna eat a lot more than 10 gold of food.